Hello, welcome back to another
You were saying you
episode.
like them both,
That is
huh?
a hell of a thing to say just before we go live. Sorry. What are we doing? Hi.
Yo.
How's things, guys? Thanks for sticking around. Holly's like, what's going on? Show. Welcome back to another episode of the Infinite Podcast. I just want to say to all you peoples in the chat, I was thinking this through the week, so this is a side note before I introduce everyone. We really, Donte says it all the time, but we really do probably have one of the best chats. I think you go through all the podcasts and our chat's like A1. When you guys get rocking, you really get rocking. And that's enough shrimp in the chat, by the way. Otherwise, you'll be banned. Donte, welcome back. How's your week been? What have you been up to? How's things?
Today's been a day. My week's been cool, except for today. Today has been a day. Obviously, I work in the financial industry, and so we were heavily impacted by our good friends over at CrowdStrike. But outside of that, it's been an interesting week. I haven't been able to do something I really enjoy, which is game, and I'm hoping to rectify that over the weekend. So I'm happy that we're here to be able to talk about some gaming in the gaming industry. I need that in my life right now. So let's get it going.
Right. Absolutely. Absolutely. Blue, welcome back. How's your week been? What have you been up to? How's things?
Hello. It's been a couple weeks. I wasn't here last week, and I'm back now. Donte was gone last week too, so we are refreshed, minus today's debacle for him. I worked and everything worked fine, so we were not impacted by the cloud strike stuff.
Fun for you.
So having said that, my day was fine. I have been playing a few games, and we've had a couple big games drop this week, and also a game that I've been following for a while. So super busy right now gaming wise, and it's probably just gonna get worse from here. I think August though we'll have a good catch up month and get through this stuff, but then it's just utter chaos. So it's gonna be fun.
Nice. I'm sorry, I didn't hear that. Could you please say that into my good ear?
You got the wrong
I'm
ear
sorry.
bandage.
Turn his camera off.
Didn't even get the right ear.
We're not going to talk about any of that, but it has been a fun week. Umbra, welcome back. How's your week been? What's going on? How's things? I can't do a Trump accent, and I respect people who can, but welcome back. How's your week been?
Well, listen, folks. Riskit is terrible. Don't vote for him. You want to vote for me?
Loser.
He's a loser.
Are you doing Nancy Pelosi?
I'm doing Nancy Marge Simpson.
What do Trump supporters hear when they hear Trump? Does he sound like sexy to them? I wonder. Like,
hi, folks.
Yeah.
It's me. And they're like,
Hey,
oh,
Umbra, you want
God.
to do your actual intro?
what can I? Look, she don't like me. Okay, I think the Trump voice was starting to get to her. She's like, oh yeah, it's spicy. No, I'm sorry. Anyway, hey,
Front and center.
Yeah.
There she goes.
I've had a good week, Riskit.
I had to leave.
Stop.
I should go.
Okay, I'll do Biden.
It
gosh.
was good.
Stop.
Oh, okay.
Get your intro off.
Popcorn.
While he's doing this, he's facing the other way from the mic, and he thinks the statue in the corner is his wife or something.
Oh, this is wrong with us. This is wrong. I'm sorry, folks. Yeah, man, it's been a good week. It's been a decent week. I am getting back into the swing of things, I think. We were talking last week, Risk and me, you and Kay, and we were talking about, you heard me mentioning how I kind of felt like, man, what do I do? I'm feeling this way about podcasting where I need to get some more evergreen things to talk about, things, et cetera, et cetera. So man, I kind of I feel more refreshed this week, I will say. And we returned back with the fix this week. So it's been 2 weeks off for us. So me and Danny returned, and it was a good show. But it's like, if you have that lull of a week or so off, you kind of lose a bit of that audience. You know what I mean? So especially if you're not like super well known or whatever. So there is that. But I
The
will.
Trump voice probably doesn't help.
I think that would help if I did Trump's voice.
I don't think that helps.
Listen, folks.
Hey, let's.
You know, it would help.
I don't mean to cut you off
camera.
real quick, but AJ said that everyone's sounding kind of low except for Riskit. So let's do a quick little mic check.
Oh.
Everyone else is am
yeah.
I sounding low?
You sounded slightly low to me. I did think that earlier.
I turned myself down a bit. If you guys gain, it's funny. This program is I don't have a lot of control over your volume. So if you turn your volume up, it'll come in to the show. So I can't auto level. I have complained, and they're like, "It's fine. You guys will be fine." I'm like, "Fucking thanks, guys. Really helpful."
I actually forgot the last time I did turn my volume up to acclimate it, so I just turned it back up. So yeah, thanks for saying that, and thanks for who's that Gray that pointed it out. I will not stop Gray. Oh, it's MJ that said it. Okay,
AJH.
AJ. Oh, AJH. What's up, brother? I know it's late for him. Yeah, Kyle's cousin. All South Park.
I don't know what you mean.
Anyway, it's really.
I just realized who Kyle's cousin is.
You remember with the glasses?
It doesn't sound like that, but
it's close.
It's not far off.
Oh, they got all in my cackles. It was horrible.
Yes, is that annoying? Yes. Check.
Yeah.
I don't know what's wrong, Kyle.
The Jewish little kid.
We're not getting to topics tonight. It's
I need to get. You know what we need? I need one of those little movie things where we can go like cut. All right, let's start again.
No, remember how they show in the old days with the hook that used to go out on stage and rip somebody off? That's what you need.
You talk about the Sandman then. You want the Sandman to come out and just snatch me away.
Something.
That's
not nice, Holly.
No, but seriously, it was good to return though. And we had a good discussion. But like I said, man, it's tough sometimes, when you're not as well known, I think, and people have so many options of people to watch. So it's a reminder to stay consistent, I would say. So I just know I gotta stay on that. And right now I'm already formulating thoughts as to what we will talk about next week. So I'm gonna really start doing that more and more and trying to come up with something interesting and unique for the audience. But yeah, man, good to be here with you guys today. Played a bunch of Flintlock. I know Holly did as well. And we got some interesting thoughts because Holly got some things she has to share on there for sure. I didn't have these things, but
she loves it.
I saw other people who had issues and such, so I'm interested in seeing
idiot.
how it all comes out for everybody.
I saw you in the chat. She loves it.
She loves it.
She just hit me up in DMs like, I think about this game.
I'm loving it, folks. I think it's amazing.
Yep.
Sensitive.
No lies.
Night. I take it all back. I'm not refreshed anymore. That's it.
I was enjoying it until I found out they had Sweet Baby Ink.
Oh my God, we got.
Once I found out Sweet Baby Ink was involved, I could no longer enjoy it.
Well, because it's coming across the border. But that's something that I echo.
Okay, now
we're good.
Okay.
That's something I didn't sort of look into this week. There's honestly every game that comes out, there's some attachment to Sweet Baby Ink, and we're gonna boycott it. I don't think these guys are gonna ever play games. Like really, excuse me for coughing on the mic. Asman does it, so it's quite professional. You can get away with it. I suppose we better jump into the topics. Before we do, my week's been really interesting, and I'm really sorry to tell everyone. I decided to jump on the PlayStation and start trying to go back through Ghost of Tsushima and I'm slightly hooked. So I had to do some stuff last night because my dog had to go to the vet, and it was really, really expensive. So I had to go out and make some money. I was not standing on the corner before anyone says that. People would probably pay me to leave the corner. I haven't thought of that. Anyway, but
You're
and I
selling it
could have
on the corner.
I could have played.
You gotta film
You out there slinging? All
What are
right,
you
right.
doing, man?
I know you out there, you know. I would
You
give you some. I would send you
Get
some
out
money,
there
man. I don't know you have to
being
do.
a little strange for some change. Is that
Right,
what's
right. You ain't got to get out there dangling your hairy
Come on,
leg
brother.
out there like that.
Ew.
Ew,
Out
brother.
there- he out there talking about you need a
Ew.
date. Yeah, we would have helped you out, man. Sent you a few dollars.
This is gonna be
Yeah, man. We
this
can
is gonna be a
your
totally off
GoFundMe
rails
or
show.
something, man. Let's get him something, dude. Come on.
It'd be a picture of my leg, like bent. You know what I mean? Like just from lower thigh and then down,
Oh,
and my
no.
big toe just sort of just slightly poking upwards.
Did anybody
Holly,
watch
don't
the
get
season
stuck.
finale of The Boys yet?
Yeah,
I haven't watched it yet.
I
No,
have.
That last scene in the
no,
bathroom.
don't ruin it.
Donte.
Yes.
I won't.
Yep.
I'm not saying anything.
I'm like, oh, Riskit's joining the show. I was a bit
That's it.
strong. Oh, sorry.
That's
All
all
right,
I'll
let's,
say.
let's get back
If
on,
you know,
on-
you
on
know.
target.
That's it.
Yeah.
So, as I was saying, I got back earlier than I thought I was going to last night. And I could have played Flintlock, Dungeon of Hinterberg. I've already played a bit of Kunitsu-Gami. Umbra dipped and he's back again. So I didn't do that, man. I've just really hooked on Ghost of Tsushima. The problem with that game was when I first played it, I completed the entire island on the bottom, and then when I moved to the second section, the island at the bottom got attacked again. And I know it's a stupid reason. I know it's stupid. Like, I know, but I was just like, man, I literally just did this whole island, cleared the whole thing, and I was like, fuck this. I'm like, nah, I'm not playing this game anymore. So what we say in Australia is I chucked a wobbly, and then I put the game down. I never went back to it. And it just seemed like a good time to go back. Well, I didn't think I would get sucked into it. But I have. I'm really enjoying it. It's got great combat. It's got really middling, what's the word? It's just got functional platforming. They put a bit of a focus on it through the game. And like, I don't know, man, if your platforming is functional, I wouldn't put a focus on it for side quests. I don't know, that could be improved. The horse is like, the thing about that game is the story's pretty good and it's fairly cohesive for an open world game, which is cool. But the combat is like crazy good. You feel like a boss every time you have a fight. So
Nice.
That's sort of what keeps me there. If they can improve all the things that they sort of lacked in the second one, if they do a second one, man, that game's going to be like probably one of the best open world games ever made. But yeah, that's what I've been playing. So I apologize. Sorry, guys, but I am a gamer. I play everything. So except for PC and Switch, because guys.
You don't gotta apologize for gaming, brother. It's fine. We accept you in your
Let's get
funny
in.
ways.
Let's get into the topics. First one off the rack is I know I got the FTC thing, and we'll get to that. But Xbox Game Pass had a really huge week this week, or last couple of days. So they dropped Flintlock, which is sitting at a 70 on OpenCritic. I think that landed where all of us expected us to. On Xbox with 7 reviews on Metacritic, it got a 76, and on PS5 with 22 reviews, it got a 71. Again, we still see, even with Game Pass, there's more reviews on the PlayStation, which gives you an idea of how the media leans, right? Because these guys are the guys doing the reviews. You're getting 22 when the game is on Game Pass, and they got 7. I think that's crazy. But I know some of you, I know who's played Flintlock. I know Umbra, you've played a little bit, and Holly, you play Under Sufferance. You played a little bit.
Forced I will. Yes.
And we couldn't obviously finish that game in the time it took to get. So hopefully next show we've played a lot of it. Most of us have finished it. We could really give sort of our review. But what are your impressions so far, Holly? How are you feeling about the game?
It's interesting. I started it last night and I got really annoyed within like the first hour, because these are all initial impressions, of course. You know, I don't know where I'll land on it, but the initial issue was, you know, everybody does tutorials, right? You usually have some pop-ups that tell you move your left stick to jump and all of that, right? But for the at least the first half hour, if not more, it felt like more. It was like there was a tutorial box that would pop up, and it has 5 screens to go through for each tutorial box. Like you hit A to advance within this one box. And it would tell you all of these things, all of these movesets, all of these different things that you can't do, explain, blah, blah, blah. You'd read all 5 of them, you're like, okay. And then you go 10 feet, and then there'd be another one. And it was like the longest, most ridiculous tutorial stuff. And I was just like, I don't even know what I read. Like, I won't remember the box 4 times ago, let alone the one I just read before I play. Just let me play, right? Like, or space them out a little bit more or something, right? Like, it was just so much tutorial that I was just like, can I just play? Like, please, you know? And then, you know, you get it. You kind of start to figure it out. But there's another thing. Well, that you start with a pistol and you start with a dagger, right? Or an axe. Sorry, it's an axe. And that's all fine. You understand it. You understand how it works. But then at a certain point in the game, you get your flintlock rifle. And when you get that, they explain it's a secondary weapon. And as a secondary weapon, you have a small, limited amount of ammo. Fine. But as a secondary weapon, and I complained to Umbra about this morning because I had some other issues. I have a tech issue to talk about too. But as the secondary weapon, you know, if you when you pull it up to use it, you can't just use it to begin with. There's an initial quick time event, and I fucking hate quick time events with all my being. It is the worst thing in gaming. But there's a quick time event to load the rifle, the black powder rifle, even before you can use it the first time. And you only get 3 shots. And each time you want to use it, you have to do this quick time event. So in combat, it's virtually impossible to be like, hold on, don't hit me while I load this flintlock rifle with this quick time event. Hold on, don't hit me. I'll stand way back here. It'll be fine. And then when you do get a shot off, you would think because it's so cumbersome and you only get a small amount of ammo and there's this quick time event to get through and not die, that you get a huge payoff, right? And the payoff is not there. It's just not there. And there's no auto aim. So on controller, you're like sluggishly trying to move and control the there's like no lock on whatsoever. So you're trying to control the sights and stuff. Also another issue with it. So it's very, very frustrating. That the rifle is almost useless except for like if you haven't entered combat yet and you want to get like an initial shot off to just, you know, peg a little damage before you start the fight. And there's
Pause.
upgrades and stuff like that. There you go. There's upgrades and stuff like that, and that's fine. I'm not going to stop for you. That's fine.
Response. Mhm, there you go.
But as you upgrade, enemies upgrade, right? So even though it's a weak gun, they're weak enemies in the beginning, right? There's a scaling on both. And it's just not a good use, or it's not a good weapon to begin with. And then my biggest issue is I just put it in the chat. I put a tweet up today and I put it in the chat so you could see. This is a huge problem. I've been playing on the Series X. And that's why I called Umbra this morning. I was like, have you tried this game yet? Because I know he's all PCMR, right? Like, he's far superior to the rest of us.
Hey, listen, you know.
So I wanted to see if he'd had the same experience. The game is beautiful. Like, the graphics are very good. They're gorgeous. Except when you get to a cave or an enclosed building, where there's no natural sunlight, it becomes almost completely unplayable. You cannot see where you're going. You can't see where there are corridors. You can't see enemies. Like, you just get smacked upside the head as you're trying to, like, you're walking into walls and you hardly know. It's just really, really bad. And so I went in and I changed the gamma. That's what it looks like. That is literally what it looks like when you're in a
Serious?
building.
Is that dark?
It's that
Sheesh.
dark. I couldn't
Jeez.
see anything, except the only way I knew kind of which way to go was because there was an enemy that had a blue light like attached to it or something like that. So I kind of just headed towards that. It's that dark. And I went in, I changed the gamma, and I changed it all the way as far as I could to try to get the brightness up. And then that's what happens to your menu. Your menu washes out, but the gameplay still stays as dark as it was in the other photo. It's really, really bad. So Umbra hadn't tried it yet, but I think I haven't heard yet what his his experience is now, because he hadn't played yet. So he played on PC, and I'm gonna go try it on PC because we think there's cross progression. So I'm gonna go download it on PC and try it later. But let's see what I don't know if you even got that far yet, but
I did. I did.
that's my initial impressions. It's a lot. But I will say the one thing is that I do very, very much like Elden Ring. So I'm not like a diehard Souls player, but I do really like Elden Ring, and I do like the movement set with it and the challenge that it is. So you could see the, Souls-like elements in this game. And what I will say is that the combat, I heard a lot of people talk about having some concerns with the combat in the beta. I did not really feel like the combat was in bad shape in this. There's a couple times where I felt like, enemies get shots off on you. You don't see it coming. It's kind of a little bit of a weird timing thing, or I don't know, maybe it's too dark for me to see. But otherwise, the as all those tutorials faded away and I was able to start like actually playing, and when it was out in the open world, it was fun. It was a lot of fun. So I give it more credit because when I started, I was really pissed at it.
It's their first outing though as well.
Yeah.
That got me. Colt Eastwood was just shouting out Holly's lighting and Donte's lighting, and I put my hand up to say, "What about mine?" He's like, "Riskit, you look good too, babe. Thanks, Colt. Thanks." And just quickly before I jump to Umbra, because I know you played a bit too of the demo. So, and then we'll jump back to Donte. But Lotus Spree gifted 20 memberships, so thank you very much. Really appreciate it, guys. Please make sure you shout out Lotus, absolute champion. They're a great friend of the show. Umbra, what did you think? One thing I noticed in the AJH, whatever his name is, I don't really watch his reviews normally, but the sound, he sort of pointed out how bad the sound was. So like, there was a couple of guys fighting way off in the distance, and it sounded like it was right next to you. So there's a sort of audio positioning issue. But again, this is a AA, and it's their first outing. So, I think if they're getting some of the aspects right with their first outing, they can always improve on that later on. Not many studios get the chance to do that, but
technically their second outing.
Okay, what's the first one?
Ashen. You guys remember the Ashen game?
Oh, okay, yeah.
Right, that was good. That was really good. Looks like they put more of a focus on the graphics this time, and that sort of thing. So maybe they need to beef up their studio, or a couple of missteps with making those hugely graphical games. I feel like a lot of studios come unstuck focusing on graphics instead of gameplay, because they don't realize that gameplay is king.
There's one comment I want to just address too, which was from Gary Moned about turning the HDR off. And I did think about that, but I'm kind of stubborn because I'm like, I love HDR and I use my Xbox for for my TV stuff too. And damn it, I'm not going to go into the settings and be turning that thing on and
On
off
and off.
every time. And there are
Yeah.
plenty of games that utilize HDR just fine, or I don't have a barrier or an issue with it. And they just need to fix that.
Yeah.
Stubborn. Very stubborn. I mean,
I
auto HDR doesn't work for me on all games. So like, and if I'm playing a 360 game, I always turn it off. So I think auto HDR, if you try turning off auto and leaving on HDR10 and Dolby, then, you know, but it also causes latency as well. So,
yeah,
I
I did think about that, but I don't. I mean, Umbra, I don't know. You were looking on some of the Reddit forums and see. I don't know if other people tried it, but I don't know that like Monad said it did help it a little bit, but I don't know if it really solves the problem.
Yeah, from when I went and looked it up, a lot of people were reporting the same issue you had, which was, and I didn't see anything from PlayStation side of it, but they all said the Series X, because of the HDR, the HDR was causing issues for them. Now, me playing on my glorious 4080 Super, yes, there you go. I was waiting for it. I had none of those issues. I had none of those issues, and I will say, performance-wise, the game runs well. Visually, there are moments like Holly. I'm sure I know you mentioned it earlier, like when we talked, and like they're like the sunnier areas and all of that. You can see the outlook of the mountains, et cetera, et cetera. Yes, Gray, I see you booing, but it's not going to stop this. But some of those areas are really nice looking. And then, though, I will say, because I'm one of those weirdos who will kind of focus in heavy. And shout out to Colt in the chat, because I go into photo mode like he does. And photo mode. Exactly. There we go, Donte. You see that?
Oh, sorry.
We were in sync right there. That was perfect.
Something comes over me when I think about it, you know?
Yeah.
It just
We
takes
were
over.
right on time.
Yeah.
That's in my head now for the rest of the day.
Yeah.
Every time someone does that, I
Blame
just
Red
walk around
Wolf.
for the rest of the day.
Yeah.
Photo mode.
Blame Red Wolf. But I took a few images and things like that, and the game can be beautiful. It really can. But there are moments, if you focus in on some parts, you kind of see, okay, yeah, this is a AA game. I'll say that, right? But that's if you're a weirdo like me who focuses in on that type of stuff. I'm just like that when it comes to art styles and things like that in games. I really hyper focus in on detail. Not that it detracts or takes a point away or anything. I just do that. Especially when I was playing like Stellar Blade, for instance, and you see the art style and how well they built that world in some elements. But I was waiting for a joke. I thought somebody was going to probably say something, but okay, I'm glad you all are more mature now. I'm liking this.
Trying to clean this place up. You know what I'm saying?
But I will agree 100% on that damn. It's not a blunderbuss, but the
it's a flintlock rifle.
Flintlock. Yeah, rifle. Yeah. Because the pistol you have is like a blunderbuss, right? Well, that's a flintlock too.
Yeah, it's a flintlock pistol. Yeah.
Yeah. Never mind.
That is a blunderbuss. Is the medium length rifle with the open with the
arrow? That's right.
With the blade. Yeah.
Yeah. So they're both flintlock styled weapons. That one, the rifle style, it's horrible. I will agree with you. It's like you said, it's too slow, and if you don't plot it out right on how you use it to attack, it's like you said, it's like, hold on, wait a minute, let me do this. Now, I didn't have a problem with the timing thing because oddly enough, it reminded me of Gears of War. I don't know why, and well, I do know why, because if you press A properly in that middle section, it'll properly reload to let you shoot it off really quick, like you would if you're doing the I forgot what they call it in Gears. It's
the quick reload. It's the reload.
Yeah. What do they call it in Gears though? Like to give you extra boost in your shooting. I forgot what they call it, but you know what I mean. And so it reminded me of that. So I was kind of like, oh, okay, I get it. It's like Gears. But I will say it's clunky in its design. And you mentioned this too when we talked, that it didn't have oomph to it, right? And you would think something like that's more of a power weapon, or like a shotgun, anything of that nature would have some more power feel to it. That's one of the parts I dislike. It has no feel of power when you shoot it. It feels weaker to me, honestly, than than the Flintlock pistol did. Oddly enough. As far as the combat, I will agree with you too. I think they improved it from the demo. The demo, I thought it was way too floaty. I think they improved it for sure.
So tighten it up.
They tightened it up. They tightened it up for
So
sure.
I remember you guys were mentioning that
Pause.
quite a bit about the demo concern.
Yeah.
See, man.
Yeah. I was wondering if somebody would do it, but he did it.
Yeah.
But yeah, they tightened it up a bit. I will agree with Holly there that it feels better now. The combat is not great, but it's not terrible either. Some of the attacks that the enemies do to you, I dislike
bogus.
how they're bogus because it feels cheat worthy. Like they get you even though you dodged, or they attack really, really quick and it's not choreographed, so you kind of understand when to block.
Yep.
So it is very weird. That was the blunderbuss right there, by the way. She just shot it and blew up that barrel. Anyway, so you do get a blunderbuss. I just noticed it. But those the aspects I didn't like.
You just like saying blunderbuss?
I do.
Is that
I think so.
Mhm.
How far along?
like
is it?
ginkgo biloba?
Like how many hours do you guys think? you're in it?
Ginkgo biloba. I am almost 3 hours in. So I played almost 3 hours in the demo, and I've played now almost 3 hours in the main game. Yeah.
What
So
about you, Holly?
I'm probably at 4 or 5.
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah.
So I did like you will get like different armor pieces. I also bought the definitive, what they call that, the premium upgrade thing where you like for the extra different outfits or whatever you want to call it.
Did you get that cheap on like some PC store with the extra stuff and the things? Is that?
I didn't actually. I just bought it right inside of the Xbox app on the PC. It was if you're on Game Pass, by the way, you all want to get that. It's only like $5 and some change. As far as that, yeah, might as well. I mean, hey, I'm getting the game and no extra charge in Game Pass. So I'm like, why not, right? And you get some pretty cool outfits, and you get a different version of the X. It looks far superior than the normal X you start with, by the way. I got to post some images so you guys can see it. And you get a different Flintlock design too. So it looks pretty good. The character work, I think the character design is beautiful. I like how, what's her name? Nor. I like her design. I think she looks pretty cool. I almost forgot her damn name. Nora and Hinky, I think they both look pretty cool.
Which
The story,
which as you know means no in Australia. So yeah.
No.
So,
I know. Anyway.
there's
so
not
not-
really a story. There's a story, but
There's
what
a
it is,
story,
I couldn't tell you.
but it's not
You're
really
fighting
a story.
undead,
Yeah.
About the Brady
or you're
budget?
not.
About the Brady budget.
It's very loose. Yeah, it's a very loose narrative. Although you get the idea that you're fighting the evil and trying to stop the gods or whatever. But yeah, I will agree. It's kind of a open kind of thing, and it's not an open. I wouldn't call it an open world. It's more open than it is closed. But you definitely go through a what is it? You definitely go through. Threw me off.
The gameplay tight though.
Yeah,
Tight, though.
you got to keep the gameplay tight.
That's
Gotta
what
keep
They
it
need
tight.
to do their Kegels.
I'm trying. Why am I the one trying to be good and
It's risky,
and
man.
nice?
I
'Cause
blame
you're the
Riskit this
deviant.
time. It's completely Riskit.
it is
I'm
known.
trying my best to keep the halo over my head right now. But there are some things I will say. Like for instance, the Souls like it's less that, and I think they shouldn't have sold it on that. Because I think sometimes it scares people off. It's less Souls like and a Souls light, if you will, right? It does have elements of it. Holly's right about that, but it definitely, if you play it, you be like, nah, this is not like a Souls style game. It has elements of it for sure, though. Obviously, the role and I guess defensive role to get away, things like that, or whatever, the way you lock on, those are Souls like elements for sure. What else would I say? How else could I'm gonna wrap it up really quick. I don't know. I don't know what else to say. I would say that it's a relatively short game. Holly, I think you looked up. You said it's about 15 hours, maybe. I think.
It said 10 to 15.
Yeah,
Oh,
so
okay.
10 to 15 hour game. It's
Wait, so
not
if
going to
you're
take a ton of your time. So yeah,
If it's that short, and you're like 4 to 5 hours in, do you feel like you've noticed like the power climb within that short period of time?
I
Or
did
like,
not.
Only, you know,
'cause I
that's
feel like you're
another.
like almost, you're quarter way through the game, right? So you don't
Yeah,
feel like, hey, I feel significantly stronger compared to how when I started.
it's weird. You know, with a story game, you kind of feel like you know kind of what percentage you're done, right?
Yeah.
And like I said, there's some sort of story here, but I haven't. It hasn't intrigued me enough to actually pay much attention to what the story is. I'm just like generally going in the way of the next waypoint marker on the screen, right? And then
hmm
like they do have villages that you can clear and claim, and then there are coffee shops in those villages that kind of become like your kind of like a safe house, or where you go and you
Is it a
get some
coffee shop?
stuff, and there's a shop. Yeah, it's
I don't
called a
know. I don't
coffee
know
shop.
why they call it a coffee shop. By the way, I thought that was so odd. It
The
felt
That
so
does
what's
not.
modern
Yeah,
compared to everything else.
right.
Yeah.
But what's
that's
what's
weird.
really cool, Umbra, I don't know if you noticed it yet, because I've cleared 2 or 3 of them. Um, when you go in the coffee shop, there's like a main character in the coffee shop to talk to you. And it's sitting on this table in the middle of the room. It's hard to miss. But when you walk in, it's like laying down and slumped over, and then it sits up to talk to you. And pay attention, because it took me a few times before I actually saw it. It's a body, and it's got it's got 2 arms with hands, and it picks its head up off of the table, and it's like a mask. And so the mask is not attached to the body, but the mask is what talks to you, or what you're, like the head of the body that you're talking to.
hmm
So the hands pick it up, and it's holding it like this, and it's
Yep.
talking to you. It's kind of a cool art
I thought
thing.
it was
Like,
really dope. Yeah,
yeah,
I
I
saw
thought
it
it
in
was
that
cool.
demo and I noticed it. I was like, oh, okay, what is this
Yeah, and they're
demon
all
thing
different
talking to me?
too. Yeah. Each of
Yeah,
them are different. Yeah.
yeah, it
Does
looks
That
it
pretty
was
feel
cool. I like the
like?
design. That's why I said like the design element. Some of them are really nice in this
yeah.
game. Yeah.
And it does
It
have
sounds like
each.
it's. No, you keep going because I haven't played the damn thing. I just got a question.
Well, the only other thing I was going to say is there is there's a world game, kind of like how The Witcher has Gwent, right? Right? Isn't that what it's got?
Gwent, you're right.
Yeah,
Uh
Gwent.
it's Quinn. Yeah.
yeah.
hmm
Um so this also has its own game like that, where in all of these towns you can run into somebody and play Cebu. Um the first time I the first time I went out to go to talk to somebody and read the instructions, I'm like, what the hell? Like, I was like, this makes no sense. And then I lost, surprise. And I was like, whatever, I'm not playing this again, right? And then I went over to somebody else, and I was gonna talk to them. And when I talked to them, they were a different NPC you could play Cebu with. I was like, ah, but I played it out and I figured it out, and it's okay. It's all right. I
Yeah,
mean,
it's all right.
it's
It's
kind of
not that
nice that they tried to
engaging.
add that.
By
I do
And
playing
you
like
it,
that
get
they
you
money
added
actually
it, but
for
it
it.
didn't. It didn't. It didn't wow me. You do get money for it, or what they
Yeah.
call reputation or whatever. But
okay.
Yeah.
yeah, it's
So you're not getting
okay.
like
Yeah,
upgrades and stuff like that by being
No, but it
proficient
does
at
help.
it. It's
Well,
just
your
for
upgrades you buy
goes toward
with
it.
that money, with that
okay,
Yeah.
currency.
got it.
So
That's
it's
a.
it's
That's
probably a
and
way to cheat the system and get you some money to do that. To be
The
fair.
only other issue, or it's not an issue, but the thing that's kind of hard to figure out, that in order for you to upgrade your weapons, you have to find resources in the world. And so I was able to upgrade my base stuff really quickly to level 2, but now I cannot upgrade my stuff because I'm supposed to find sulfur, and I've been playing for 4 or 5 hours, and I cannot find sulfur anywhere. Know
Probably
I don't
get
know
it
what the deal
later.
is with that.
Probably get it later. I found plenty of iron and all that and wood.
Yeah, I got all that
Yeah,
stuff. Yeah.
yeah. But I will. Yeah, that
Anyway,
so
part is a little odd too, because also you have to have like 4,000 reputation and all
it's
that.
a
So
lot. Like
yeah,
and it's only one currency that you need to buy your skills in your skill tree. It's the same currency that you need to buy if you want to like buy some armor at the coffee shop. It's the same money. Or if you want to upgrade your weapons, you need that money as well, along with the resources. It's all the same currency. So it really kind of like, and it's not, the world is not just overflowing with this currency either.
Right.
So it is really kind of you have to pick and choose
Yeah, it's
what
kind of
you actually
restrictive in that
want to
element.
do.
Yeah, that's why I didn't really feel
And
any
if you
power
die
in 3.
and you don't get your money back, because that is part of the Souls-like element,
That is another.
is
I
it,
forgot to mention that. If you die, you have to go and kind of reclaim your reputation on the spot of where you died at, very much Souls-like. And of course,
unless
if
you
you
die,
die
then it's
before you
gone.
get to it, then it's gone, right?
Can
Which
you
I
pause?
absolutely hate. Yeah.
Can you pause? Yeah, you
So
can
s-
pause.
You can pause.
You can
It
pause, yeah.
sounds like a
Alright.
bit of a mishmash of sort of
There's a lot of good
not
in it.
Souls
But-
elements, I
not all
suppose. Yeah.
not all fully formed ideas. Like it seems like there's a whole bunch of systems that are supposed to work together, but they don't. This is what it sounds like based on what you guys are saying and some of the
Yeah.
reviews I've seen. Is that they've sort of some of the game is not quite well thought out or meshed together properly. Is what I'm getting.
I think that's fair,
Solitech,
actually.
well,
Yeah.
welcome to the show. And I just wanted to shout out to Bobby. I will definitely try to do that. And Game Adaption Newscast, we're talking about Flintlock. And Donte, have you had a chance to play Flintlock this week?
Nope.
What are your Nope.
No,
Okay, so
no.
you're in the same boat as me. I mean,
Yeah, I will
I
this
haven't really
weekend, but I haven't got a chance to.
sort of touched it. There was definitely some other games that dropped this week that I have played and do definitely want to talk about. So, I mean, if anyone's got anything else they want to add to Flintlock.
Nothing else. I will say though, I do agree with you that in general, I think it is a matter of them trying to put too many systems in it to make it unique than what it needs to be. I think sometimes
Mhm.
it's like finding an answer to something. Sometimes the simplest answer is the answer, and I think when you try to redefine what something needs to be, you can slip up. I think they have so many other games that's in the style of Flintlock that they could have looked to systems wise that perfectly showcase how you handle that game. And I think they kind of bungled it here in some aspects. Again, I think the combat is improved. I'm with Holly on that. It is better, but it's not great. And the combat fighting some enemies, it feels cheap because they get in hits like what? And the roll aspect that you do sometimes does not work. Comparatively, if you play a Souls type game, if you roll, that iframe is going to catch it and you're going to dodge. On here, sometimes you're going to get caught. I'm just going to tell you right now.
Well, and like Umbra said, like at first I thought, oh, it's just me, but it kept happening where legitimately you're just sideswiped in an instant and you don't like there was no cue. You barely even see that you got hit. Anyway.
Is it
But
more
there's
linear?
a lot of potential. Like you could see
Yeah.
that there's a lot of stuff in the game that it's doing right. And again, not done yet. But it just feels like there's too many things that just maybe aren't fleshed out.
Yeah, I think that's the best way to say it. Maybe they'll improve it and put in some patches and stuff like that. I don't think it's a bad game at all. I think I think the score they got for it might be right. By the end of this, I'm pretty sure I'm going to come around to probably a 7 or something like that. That's what it's feeling like.
Bobby said if you play on story mode, all of the achievements get turned off, so you don't even get achievements for it.
Bobby wants the easy
kinda
route, huh?
creepy.
Of course you would, you pony.
It's the only way they finish games. It's like, kidding.
He did
I'm
it.
joking.
He did
Right.
press mode. Oh, Bobby, we didn't know. Now you told on yourself. Is that you, Jason Schreier? Bobby was Jason Schreier all along.
Oh man, that is one very unattractive man. Anyway, I don't know if you see him in person. You're like, oh, it's probably what if it's what you see a troll online and that's what you think they look like. That's probably what Jason Schreier looks like. So I was just taken aback.
And they'll be the
It's
one
hard to see him.
judging a woman. Oh, she looks horrible. You're like, what?
Hard to see him in a crowd too because he's like literally 3 to 4 foot tall. Maybe he's borderline. I don't know if you can say midget anymore. Dwarf.
Wait. You just said it, but
Borderline little person.
wait, Schreier is not. I thought he was kind of tall. He's a short little
No.
guy.
Oh,
Really?
no.
He's like
No.
5'6", maybe.
Yeah,
Really?
He's kind of short.
Oh
I would say 5.
wow.
He's
Yeah.
kind of short.
I think
He's
6
a
is
short
giving him
king. I didn't know
a
that.
little bit much.
Anyway,
He might
Moving on.
block me. He already has.
I actually survived. I survived his ban. I don't know how everybody else
I'm
got
not
caught.
blocked.
Oh, see me and Ollie
I
survived.
got banned because I'm friends with somebody named Eastwood, and I never interacted with this guy. I've never interacted with this guy once in my life, and I recognized that I got banned. So he's
That's like MBG. I've never interacted with MBG like ever once. There's nothing that dude says that like I want to even like refute. I don't rate him high enough for me to get involved in anything he says, right? And then the other day, someone brought something up, and I was like, oh yeah, like, and I found out I was blocked. I'm like, how did I get?
Did you disparage Metal Gear Solid? Is that what happened? Did you say something about Snake?
No. I think if you're going to call yourself muscle-bound gamer guy, you should at least have some muscles. But
wait. Is that what that stands for?
Yeah.
That's what his name really stands for. Muscle-bound gamer guy.
Yeah, muscle-bound gamer or muscle-bound guy or something. Yeah.
No way.
Yeah.
Wow.
No way.
Yeah.
I didn't. That was not the first thought I had of him. I don't know. Maybe I'm not looking at him right. Maybe he's muscly, and
he's
I don't know.
I could arm wrestle. I could probably arm wrestle him with my pinky and still maybe snap his. Or Holly's drinking. Stop it. This is not fair. Oh. Anyway, we gotta.
Wow. You should have let out a burp at the end, like.
I gotta get one of these on the soundboard. I'll definitely, as every time she stops drinking, it's good that you're staying hydrated. Modest Pelican commends you. If you don't know who Modest Pelican is. So the other games that dropped was Kunitsu-Gami, Path of the Goddess, and Dungeons of Hinterberg. I completed the demo of Kunitsu-Gami, Path of the Goddess. Before we get into that, though, please hit the like button. Share us out. We go live 8 p.m. EST every Friday if you're in the US. And if you're in Australia, that is 11 a.m. And if you're in the West Coast, Best Coast, that is 8 a.m. And welcome to the show. If you guys are new, please subscribe. We go off the rails on a regular basis. So Kunitsu-Gami, Path of the Goddess. This is a really sort of interesting idea. Apparently, this is the mobile studio that Capcom just sort of, obviously they wanted to make this game. It's beautiful. I'm not really part of it, big into the art style. Like it doesn't gel with me. I don't know why. Like I don't quite get into just the look of it. That's not to say that it's not well done. I think it looks really, really nice. I was trying to convince Gray Monad in the chat for like an hour to play this game, but he refuses. It's a mishmash of ideas that just works really well together. So it's, I guess, what you'd call a tower defense game. But it's also an action game at the same time, whilst being a real-time strategy game. So that's like a mishmash of ideas, right? So what it is you need to, the Path of the Goddess is you need to move her through each level, which is fairly linear in the beginning. You need to move her through each level and get her to the end of the level, which is this gate. And that's where all the demons will come out of. It has a day-night cycle, right? And then every night cycle, the demons come, and you have to have that cycle of fighting the demons. Your day cycle is running around the village, trying to get rid of a lot of the toxicity that's sort of taken over the land. And there's villagers that are like captured by that toxicity. You let them go, and you can assign a role based on how much currency you have. I can't remember what they call the currency. But you can assign a role to each villager to then defend that goddess. So through the day, you do all that. You get rid of the toxicity, you build your villagers, and then you place them where you think you want them. But you also move the goddess to certain spots. Now, in the beginning of that, I was like, man, this is really, really easy. A pretty simple sort of game. Because the level was so linear, towards the end of the demo, I'm not opening what gates? Jesus. They do look similar. I'm not going to lie. But towards the end of the demo, it becomes infinitely more complicated, where you have multiple gates with multiple vaginas, and you have like bad guys coming out of each sort of gate, and then you've got multiple paths that the goddess can take, and there's little tower defense things, like there's a barrier, there's a spot for your to put your archer on that gives him more view and makes him a little bit more powerful. You've got a woodcutter, an archer, a medic, I can't remember the name of them, or a healer, and then you've got a weird spear guy that basically freezes the enemies in place for a period of time, so you can deal with them. Now, while all this is happening, it's an action game because you're running around trying to fill the gaps. Before anyone does it, pause.
See,
So
this is
well, I mean, vaginas, pause, whatever, gaps. So anyway, so you're fighting off all these different demons, and what I learned towards the end of the demo, which I hadn't quite picked up yet, right, is that I'm going to add this to the scene, and I'm going to do it a little bit clumsily, so apologies. The longer you're in the level, the more the harder the enemies become. You get more of them, and you get stronger enemies. So to me, this is like a really odd mishmash of ideas that just all works together. It's really well done. It's quite simple. It's easy to control. The controls are like perfect. Like they nailed the controls. The combat is it's not overly complicated. You've got a quick and a heavy attack, but it's really fun. And it's also the manicness of like they're getting closer to your goddess, and you've got to protect her. You've got to like repair your defenses, all that sort of stuff as you go through the day. And as well, it's a great game. I really enjoyed it. I'm probably going to play this one start to finish all the way through. I think it's about a 10-hour experience, and I can see a lot of replayability with this. So yeah, I'm absolutely surprised. I like RTS. I like action games. Yeah, this to me was fantastic. Did anyone else on the panel, did you guys get a chance to play this?
Unfortunately, no. I did download it to the PC though, so I will be trying it out.
You couldn't just say I downloaded it.
Why I have to
install it though?
why I have to be restricted on that?
To the PC, okay. To my very, very expensive new PC.
Yes.
Just
into my
picked up not too long ago.
into my 4080 Super. I did download it, and I'm just gonna switch to my PC.
Does that 4080 Super know how to use a camera? Like, can it handle?
It can render a webcam
basic
for some reason.
webcam
It can do
functionality?
everything but that.
That 4080
Like,
Super
I
is
think
just well beyond camera usage.
If Umbra was a smoker, you know those people who like, and then they just ash their cigarette with their pinky. Like I feel like, like they ash it at someone in disdain. You know, I feel like Umbra would just go around to console people all the time and just be like ashing his cigarette at them. You know,
And then
I'm
blow
trying
smoke
to-
in their face.
I'm trying to lead you all into a better life. I don't know why you were choosing me. I looked it up, by the way. It is a 10-hour play. Says the main story is about 10 hours for Kunitsu-Gami. But yeah, completionist, it looks about 20 hours. So double that.
I played part of the demo,
okay.
and
I
I thought
how'd
it
you feel?
was very interesting. It was like something I'd never quite seen before. I didn't get all the way through the demo though. Plus, it was enough that I saw in the demo that I went, "Huh, okay, I'm gonna play this." Right. Plus, it's Capcom, and I just really like Capcom. I think they're great. So I was kind of giving them the benefit of the doubt on it. Chat, we had a little argument about which game we thought, oh, let's all play one of these games that's coming out, and this was my vote, and I lost. So I'm playing Flintlock, and you're welcome, chat. It's all for you. All for you. So, but when I am done with Flintlock, I go back and finish Elden Ring, and then I'm gonna hop into this. And the other game that came out this week that we should talk about. But
So wait, we don't
Yeah,
see everybody
definitely.
else stunting. You got Lotus stunning on me. Lotus says, where is it? I just saw it.
tell your 4080.
Your 4080 to say
Yeah.
hi to my GG4. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So why is it just focus on me? And AJH is like, he said I'm the vegan of PCMR. Oh, that's terrible. That if you wanted to
That's
stop me
pure
from talking about
slander.
PC, that would do it.
That's true. Or a CrossFit. You're like a CrossFitter. Nothing
CrossFit,
worse than a
damn.
CrossFit vegan.
Hey,
They're gonna tell you.
It's a great way to
tell
stay
you
in
about
shape.
I'm sorry. Let's stop doing that. So look, honestly, I highly recommend this game. It's
Oh my
not
gosh.
going to be. It's not going to be for everyone. He's not. I'm not going to say that one. That's maybe a little on the nose.
Maybe a lot of the nose.
But back to Kunitsu-Gami, I really enjoyed it. I highly recommend the game. The art style just doesn't. That's the only thing I can say. But like beautifully animated, beautifully like done. It just doesn't. I don't know. It feels
Kinda
very
weird.
at least
yeah.
it doesn't look like Persona though.
Right. But it also looks. Here's the thing. It's very sort of Indonesian, but it's Japanese, right? So it's, and I'm not sure what the like
What religion system they're using. It seems like a
Yeah.
mishmash of mythologies and stuff. That's what I took from it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's what I kind of wouldn't mind a cohesive mythology that sort of follows a sort of a story that I don't know about, but this just doesn't feel like it's a made up thing with like a mishmash of stuff. And I don't know. I think it could have benefited from like an actual mythology, creatures coming through and scary stories they tell. But hey, man, it's one of those games I'm a bit surprised on, and I'm definitely going to play that one start to finish.
Does it have a
Anyone
story?
else
Like,
want to riff?
is there a story to it besides just that you're trying to get the goddess through these different towns?
Yes, it's sort of. So it's sort of like Journey to the West. Very, very light Journey to the West. Like you're just basically escorting this goddess to the like main toxic hub so that she can clear the land of toxicity, and you clear it as you go.
Okay.
That's really, as far as I can tell, what we've got so far. That may change because it was just a demo, just an introduction to the story, right? That I played.
The combat, how was it for you in general? Was it really,
Good.
really solid? Okay.
Good, serviceable. Like there's a light, a heavy, and a special where you hold your button down and it does a strong attack, like super strong attack. But yeah, I mean it's serviceable. It's not all about the combat. Like that's just there to fill those gaps, pause. But yeah, like it's also about Donte's like, it's also about your positioning and your RTS elements where you can like pause the fight, shift everyone around, and then try to close those areas where demons are coming through.
It seems like it's funny when I think about it, because thinking of Flintlock and the systems, and then you think of Kunitsu-Gami, is both using elements of systems that are kind of maybe they may have fumbled a bit with. It sounds like to me, even just hearing what you described, it is like I'm like, what? I have to move people around too. I don't know. I have to try it to see, but it does not sound.
No, that's definitely.
I'll say that.
That's definitely not a failure. That like once you play the game, like that's part of the whole core. It's a tower defense thing, so it's like your people, your villagers are part of your defenses that you can shift around during combat. So you can like in the combat, and then you can stop, like literally pause, almost like Dragon Age, I guess, where it's like fluid combat, but you can shift your companions around and get them to do specific things to sort of. Yeah, trust me, it's not a failing. Definitely not a failing, and the combat is fun. Is fun.
I'm not the biggest tower defense fan either, so that. But yeah, okay. I'll have to test it out to see.
Yeah, it's a mix of things. Like I don't think you can put this into any one specific genre. But like moving on, Dungeons of Hinterberg, which I know no one has played, Donte, unless you played it.
What is gaming? That's been my week, man. I haven't been able to do any gaming this week. It's been driving me crazy. So now, unfortunately, I got nothing to contribute in playing games that came out because my week has sucked. So, but I'm going
we'll quickly go over Dungeons of Hinterberg. Look, I've been watching. I don't know if you guys know, great friend of the show, Nico, on Twitter. If you are on Twitter, definitely follow Nico. Just a great, lovely dude. But Xbox fan, and he's been playing a lot of Dungeons of Hinterberg and sharing it online and just sharing his opinions of it. And he's really liking it. So that's really the only. I haven't looked at any reviews, but from the looks of it, from the looks of what is online, which it's landed at a 80 on OpenCritic, and on Metacritic, Xbox 79, and if PC is also 79. So people seem to be liking this game. Again, I don't think these particular games, this slew that dropped this last couple of days is for everyone. But I think it's a good mix of games that they have dropped, right? So that everyone can sort of get and again, these games are all scoring in the 80s, 90s, sort of 70s to 90 range. So look, I think that's a brilliant. I've picked someone's gameplay who's just standing still. That's great.
Hey, it's funny because the review scores overall, the aggregates at least, I would have thought that Flintlock would have had that initially when I first saw it shown and everything. That was my thought, like it's going to score in the 80s or something or close. Versus this, I thought it was going to score in like in the 60s.
Yeah, well, the trailer for Flintlock gave us that feeling, right? Because the trailers all kind of make it seem like, oh man, that looks pretty interesting.
Yeah.
So unfortunately, it's like the game couldn't quite deliver to how they marketed it. But I mean, I'm not going to fault them for trying to,
promote it.
Be really exactly. Got to do your best, right?
Yep.
But how good is Game Pass though, man? For just dropping a bunch of games that like realistically aren't going to get much, airtime otherwise, and a lot of people may not have played, but a lot of people are playing it on that as well. I just quickly wanted to go over. We got a bunch of topics. I didn't think we'd be on this topic for so long. So shout out to Umbra and Blue for having a lot of thoughts on Flintlock. It was great to hear. So I sort of know what I'm getting into. But I wanted to sort of look at, even though all these games, so Flintlock, PS5 had 22 reviews. The Xbox had 7. Kunitsu-Gami on the Xbox, 16 reviews. On the PS5, 33. Dungeons of Hinterberg, 13 reviews on the Xbox, 32 on the PC. There's no PlayStation version. I don't know. I find that really odd. That these games are within Game Pass for people to review. Maybe that those numbers will grow now that they've obviously launched, but that people would be requesting them on PS5. If I was a media outlet, I would make the assumption that most people are going to be playing this within Game Pass. And so I would want to review the experience as a whole within Xbox. That makes sense to me. But these media, I don't want to say these media people, but a lot of the media is requesting PS5 codes, which doesn't give you like the true experience that you would have, and that I believe most people are going to have. I don't know. Am I crazy? Is that a strange thing to strange way to look at it, or?
I think it makes sense with what you said. I mean, the game is going to largely play the same way either way, right? I imagine, except for PC, because I think the game is locked to 30 on console, which is why I said I'm going to play it on PC, because I want, uncapped. I want to be able to turn it to 60. But I will say, I think largely it's going to play the same, and people are probably saying, hey, it's going to be the same either way. I just want to play it on my console of choice. But then that goes back to the problem we were talking about before when it comes to these reviews and how, PlayStation is 60 some odd people that reviewed it over here. It's an 80 whatever. Xbox 2 reviews, 74 or something stupid like that. And it's like, okay, that has to be fixed with the aggregate thing, because I think it's led to a lot of
quality and a performance mode though.
I'm not sure. I don't think it does. Mm-hmm. I was only going off of Kay. Shout out to Kay Asante. He had a video up for using Game Pass through streaming through the Fire Stick, and I saw him talking about it. And he mentioned that it's at base 630 frames per second on console and even through streaming, so it's natively that way as well. That's what he was saying. So, and I trust Kay on that. So that's what I know it from. But yeah, like I just will. I wish they would kind of adjust that when it comes to the review situation, because I get a little annoyed just kind of seeing that discrepancy, and I know why it's happening, but it just still feels like, it feels frustrating a little bit. Like, 40 people played it here on PlayStation. It's a 92. One person played it over there and they thought it was bad on Xbox or whatever, 70 or 64. And it's like, Xbox failed again.
It just creates this bias, and you can just see it. And I feel like game developers should be like limiting the amount of codes. Like, you know, if we're giving out this many codes, you'd have an idea a fair way, but like then it has to be this many codes of that. And look, I see that with I was speaking to shout out to Pirate PR, and I was speaking to them, and they have a limited amount of codes for Xbox, and they have a limited amount of codes for PC, and they have a limited. So that is happening,
So
but why are they not?
Right. So like,
Yeah.
You know, if you got 40 or whatever the number is, right? You know, I got 15 on Xbox, 15 on PS. You know, this idea of just oversaturating it for people just to do that. Just you're right. It creates a perception that, you know, like it seems to be like double, right? Every number that you gave, it seems like doubles on the PS side. It's like, what's the point of that, unless you're just trying to, you know, make it seem like the Xbox stuff is obsolete, which, I don't think so, but whatever. Xbox needs to change that perception as well.
Yeah, no, agreed. 110,
especially if it's going to
Game
Pass.
It's just a weird bias, and when it happens, like you said, especially going into Game Pass, it doesn't make sense to me. It's just something I wanted to call out again. And we'll jump to the next topic. Before we do, shout out to Huggy Chunny for becoming a member. Really appreciate you, bro. Good friend of me and a good friend of the show and everyone here on the panel. It's great to see you in the chat. And he says, he said also, wait, you're saying there's a media bias? No. Yeah.
Wait, are you saying there's an Xbox tax, Hargeet?
Oh,
by the way, I'm glad you're here, Hargeet. I was going to hit you up. I might as well say it here and speak it into existence. Hey, I heard you were possibly in the neighborhood of looking for somebody who could do the audio book for your book. If you are, don't go to Fonz, go to me. No, I didn't pitch that right. I think I would be better than Fonz. He's terrible. No, wait. Go to me. I'm cheaper. No, seriously. If you were looking to getting into doing an audio book for it, man, let me know. I would definitely be interested in it. I'm trying to build up a bit of a portfolio for that type of stuff because I want to try to get into voice work.
Absolutely. Don't pick Umbra. Fonz is that what you were saying? Fonz is the better option?
No, that's not what I was saying.
Oh, sorry, I got it wrong. I got it wrong. My bad. Look, we'll move on to the next topic. Please hit the like button, share us out. We go live 8 p.m. EST every Friday. And if you're in Australia, that is 11 a.m. Over in the East Coast, West Coast, Best Coast, 8 a.m. And if you're new, just consider subscribing. I really appreciate every single one of you guys in the chat. You guys are amazing and hilarious. And this has been a bit of an off-hour show, and I kind of like that. It's been interesting and different, and everything that people describe me as, and I appreciate that. Sometimes I just... right. Trying to find the topics. I've gone well off track. Okay, so the FTC. I don't know. When when you're like not thinking and you just say words, that was one of those moments. The FTC calls out Xbox for its price hike. Their quote was, "This is exactly the sort of consumer harm from the merger it expected." They've dropped a new filing. There's a really, really good tweet that's I can't remember the name of the guy. Games Frey dropped out. And they went through the filing, so I'm just going to quickly verbatim read that out. The FTC has just filed a letter with the United Court of Appeals for the Ninth Circuit arguing that Microsoft's Game Pass changes prove post-merger market power, which is basically saying that Xbox has got a monopoly on the market, but it's not. It's just not the case. More than 7 months after the hearing, December 6, 2023, the appeals court still hasn't ruled on the FTC's appeal. It's with the Ninth Circuit. As I said before, this is not the first time for the FTC to make a filing during that period in hopes of influencing the decision. Microsoft did so only once. The FTC argues that the new price structure is all about COD, I would agree, and contradicts what Microsoft told Judge Corley about there being no price increases based on the acquisition. Note, based on the acquisition, they didn't say there'd be no price increases ever. I think that's kind of gives you an idea of what is going on. I 110% agree. The price increases is very directly because of COD, and very directly because of the merger. But it's not what it is; it's what you can prove. And I don't think you can prove definitively that they're only doing this because of the merger. Realistically, had the merger not gone through, would there have been a price rise? That's what you would be looking at. Yes,
there still would have been one.
Agreed. Yeah, agreed. Absolutely. They couldn't continue to bring in, and maybe even more so of a price rise, because you can't continue to bring in what we saw with the prices of those pretty expensive AAAs, AAs, and indie games without it being sustainable. God, I hate using that word because people will jump on that. But it is sustainable from what we've seen. But obviously, as Phil said, you either go outside the ecosystem and try to find new customers, or you charge the customers more that you have. This is a pretty good indication of, I think, that yes, the subscriber count, it's not hit a complete ceiling where it's just stopped, but it's obviously the growth is slowed to a point where it makes more sense to charge more. Realistically, $2-3, it's not a big deal for me. The tier change, I think, is more the thing that you could hit if you were the FTC. I wouldn't be if I was the FTC, I wouldn't be going after the price hike at all. I would be going after the tier change. Would that have happened? Could that have been a thing? Pulling back day and date from a specific tier, as if you guys don't know, we talked about it last week. They've pulled day one games from standard. I don't know. Look, very interesting time to do that, but then also to back that up, they've brought in, and I'm going to combine these two topics because it is another topic we're going to talk on, but I think it really does go into what's going on here and why Xbox does a lot of the things that it does. But Xbox or Microsoft is playing nice with the industry. So Microsoft has integrated GeForce Now into its Xbox game pages. So when you launch a game from PC, this is not on console just yet. Starting to feel like the redheaded stepchild over here on console. But when you launch a game from PC page, if you want to launch it on cloud, it'll give you the option to use GeForce Now or Xbox's xCloud. And I think that's another example of Xbox playing nice within this cloud space. Probably partly because of the FTC, partly because it's great for customers. It brings more people into their ecosystem if everything's combined. We're seeing that happen with Paramount, Prime. They're bringing other services within their umbrella.
Isn't Paramount and Max talking about merging too? Speaking of that.
Yeah, but they're also bringing a lot of subscription services you can subscribe to within that service. So Apple TV does it. You can subscribe to. And I think that consolidation is definitely needed. I really think this is a point at which it's needed. There's too many sub-services for everything. So
you're going on record saying consolidation is good now?
No. No, and the consolidation is different for each market. I think in the gaming industry, we've had quite enough consolidation.
No,
Thank you very much.
Believe it or not, I've actually turned around on that. I agree with you now. I think what turned me around, of course, was the layoffs. It was like, all right, now I see. Like that started to weigh on me. It's like it actually made me feel real negative about gaming after a minute, seeing so many people lose their jobs. Just to throw it out there, though, to what you were saying on this, as not to miss that point, the FTC filing is pretty stupid, and it's like you lost already. Just move on. And the whole argument is of they're trying to shift it to, well, see, now they're giving you a poor option in Game Pass. Now, Corey is trash. I'm not going to disagree with them on that, but the fact of it is that's not what they were really arguing. They were arguing that Microsoft was going to basically corner the market and not share those games. And well, Microsoft already countered by saying Game Pass, Call of Duty will still be on all these platforms. So you don't really have an argument here, FTC. They're still just trying to fight. It's done. You know what I mean? Let it go.
Well, a lot of the argument was about cloud too, right? And Microsoft just pulled cloud off a lot of those subscription tiers, right? It's only on the top one, and then they added GeForce Now to an option. So they're allowing maybe that was strategic because of that. Maybe they put GeForce Now in as an available option to people to try to mitigate any pushback from the FTC.
Good point. Yeah. And
Mhm.
Boosteroid too, I heard in certain markets as well, right? They use this probably the way GeForce is used. And by the way, shout out to Everborn who subscribed to the 4080 tier for GeForce Now. And I'm like, why? You have a 4090. And he's like, oh, for handheld. I'm like, oh, didn't think of that.
Well, that's the thing. The other thing for me is I'm about to go into a situation where cloud's going to become an actual serious alternative for me. A lot of the guys on the Xbox Series podcast, which is Deadly Headley, Gamsley, and Asa, great podcast. I highly recommend going and check that out. Those guys, every single one of those guys are absolute champions, know what they're talking about, and come at things from a very positive perspective. So I recommend that podcast. But they were talking about the Fire Stick with the cloud and use cases for that. And I was thinking this is now directly for a customer like me. I already subscribe to Ultimate, so that's not a cost that I'm going to incur. I already have a controller. That's not a cost that I'm going to incur. I'm going to be traveling a lot. So I don't just stay at, I used to stay at one site where I fly into that site and that's what happens. Now I'm handling a whole region. So I'm constantly moving throughout the week. And that's just, I can't take my Series S with me everywhere I go now and plug it in. I mean, I could, but it's just a lot to lump around whilst I'm traveling. So the Fire Stick for me and this option of cloud actually works for me now. It may be a viable option for me, until the Xbox does do a handheld, because I am holding out for that. That's the next thing that I'm going to probably go for as far as tech is a handheld, but I want to see what Xbox has to offer. So look, I mean, this cloud offering is a thing, but why it is that I agree with you, Holly. I think that's 110% got to do with the FTC, no doubt. I think that's just sort of an appeasement. One other thing, and I'll kick to Donte because we haven't heard much from you on this, is are they still holding back Activision games, legacy games, because of the FTC? I didn't put much faith in that argument, frankly, prior to this, but seeing that they're still heavily on the attack, they're still filing. There's still a possibility that they could be taken to court. You know, this would be something that could be added.
That was a hard chug right there.
This is
needed that thirst quencher on that one, huh?
Oh man.
This is something that could be added to the case, right? If they're like, hey, you've just dropped all these legacy games over there, but all the CODs are here, all that's there. You've got the monopoly on cloud. You've changed your tiers, and all this is, this could all be used. One thing I'll say, Donte, is that I would love to see Microsoft explain the tier system in court to the judge, and I hope it's visual because I want to see the look on her face. It'll just be like,
yeah.
So how are you feeling about this FTC thing? You think that this is all related, interlinked?
I still feel it's misguided, to be quite honest. I think they want to show that. I think they're out to prove that Microsoft basically is the big bad corporation who basically is lying about what they wanted ABK for and what they're going to do with it now that they have it. And they felt like, oh, this is a moment where you basically kind of did something a little bit different than what you said when you were in court. My thing is, show me one subscription service that has not adjusted and raised prices over time. It just hasn't happened. The cost of things go up and you have to adjust. So even if ABK didn't actually go through, this was going to happen, in my opinion. They were eventually at some point going to have to raise prices some. Now, if anything, I think the pricing could, like, if the idea was like, oh yeah, by doing so, you created market harms. Like, I don't know if you raise the prices for day and date, and the lower entry price, the lower entry ones go up by 50%, and you get a little bit less. I don't know how that actually helped Microsoft and help the market. If anything, it's kind of like your people are going to then just purchase the game, right? So the concern of using something like COD as the thing that was going to dominate the market and use it to kind of bludgeon PlayStation, which I pretty for sure was the argument that they were trying to make there, doesn't quite ring true, because it's kind of like, all right, so you're telling me, Microsoft, I got to pay for the higher tier package to get day and date with it. So I got a choice. If I'm someone who mainly just plays COD throughout the year, do I want to pay you guys $19 a month for that, or do I just want to go ahead and just play for COD and be done with it? I paid a one-time price and I'm good. Versus, you know, the person who could have got it for the $9.99 price when it was day and date for the lower tier package. So if anything, like that would hurt Microsoft a little bit by the adjustments that they made to the pricing. It didn't benefit them to make the market be like, oh, I really got to go out and get that deal now. You know what I'm saying? It's like you made it where people have to question, like, do I still want to say sub to this? For some people, like, it doesn't impact me, but there are some people who probably play 1 or 2 games throughout the year who could say, yeah, now it's not as beneficial for me, right? So if anything, to me, I think they could have caused themselves harm more so than market harm. And the bigger thing with Game Pass is that, like, it's an option. Like, they're for some reason, it seems they're taking this argument that it is the dominating force in the market, and by them adjusting their prices, all of a sudden the consumer is completely screwed. But it's like, no one forces you to have to go to a subscription service. You can still just go buy your games like everyone else does who doesn't want to be a part of a subscription service. So I don't quite understand how this is like the one they want to beat and harp on. Where it's like, you just have another option as to how you're going to consume our products. Are you going to pay it outright, or do you want to sub to one of these tiers? And the best tier is the more expensive one. Do you want to do that unless you're on PC? It didn't go up too much on PC, but if you're on console,
$2, I think, or something like that.
The best tier is the higher tier, right?
The
if
ultimate.
you want day and date. So we kind of lost something in this process. So to me, it seems kind of misguided and seems petty. It seems like this is the we felt
right.
we lost, right? We lost, and we're still upset about that. We've been waiting for some opportunity to kind of push with our appeal, and this is our got you lied moment, where it's like, you're not really benefiting us right now as a consumer by, you know what I'm saying? Like, this isn't for our protection. This is more like you're trying to save face to go after the big bad corporation.
Trying to get their little lick back or something.
Yeah,
Yeah, and that's
like
the thing that's so silly.
That's how it comes off to me.
I agree, and that's the thing that's silliest about it, because again, what are they hoping to accomplish? You're going to waste taxpayer money to try to combat them on, well, see, that tier, like, is bad. Like, what's the argument going? I don't even understand the argument they could try to make here.
Well, this is not a new filing, though. This is like an addition to the case that's still in appeal. Like,
right.
This is not like a
the one that's still upcoming.
This is like adding
this is
on.
the gotcha moment, right?
Gotcha.
Make that a little bit more, to make it more appealing, shall we say?
And in all reality, it's a silly thing. I mean, they were going to do it if they weren't going to give up the case, but it's a silly thing to do because it's pretty easy to debunk pretty quickly, because all you have to do is pull literally any other type of market or any other types of things in the market and say, look at the inflation on these, and here's how much everything has gone up in the last 2 years, 4 years, whatever, whatever matrix that you want to use. And I think they have a very valid argument to just say it's inflation, and just like everybody else, that we all have costs to cover. And this is the reason that we did this. We are still including all of these things in Game Pass. And as you can see, Call of Duty is up for sale on PlayStation currently. So that's it.
Yeah, 110%. And Hargate made a point that PlayStation's done very much the same thing. But look, I don't want to jump into what's up, Mav. I don't want to jump into the whataboutism, but I mean, just so in focusing on PlayStation, every subscription service is going up, over time. It's just a thing that happens.
Of the beast, just the nature of it.
Yeah.
Show me one that's
as the valuing
the whole time through.
And
exactly.
And
yeah.
The Elemental Hero is right. Like, Microsoft did make some statements during the court case about, no intention of like raising prices, et cetera, but like, or doing it right away or any of those things, right? But like, at what point is it okay? Like, they're a company, they're an organization, they're going to restructure all of their price points for everything at some point. It's not like this case was supposed to lock them in for perpetuity. That's not it at all. So
yeah, that would be viable.
Kind of a silly thing.
And Hargeet makes a great point where he points out, look at the competition in this case. And I know it's not whataboutism, but it's true. PlayStation has added nothing for what they've raised in price as far as
you can't use that because it's not about PlayStation. It's about what Microsoft is going to be using.
But
the FTC case is about Microsoft. It's not about.
No, I got it. I'm saying only
in relation to explain how the market works.
Right? That's what I mean by that. So like you could say, hey, if it did raise prices,
can't react to the market and change prices, but the competition, the market can. We got to sit and wait and stay idle and just keep our price the same for forever. Like that's just unrealistic to expect
Right, and-
anyone to survive within a marketplace and say, I can never adjust my prices if the numbers aren't
But
really
they could-
working for us, you know?
Yeah.
But they could do that even without even opening the PlayStation handbook at all, or looking at their, like, the PlayStation could raise their prices 5 times in the last year. They don't have to go and open that and look at it. All they have to do is go back and say, look at the rising costs and look at how many people we've had to lay off in the last X amount of time. Do you want us to lay off more people? Because what would happen if we don't do a price increase, because these are our margins and this is
And
our
the-
internal financials.
Exactly, and the value has increased. So I mean, with the PlayStation thing, I will agree 110%. Umbra is sort of like the I don't know what you'd call it, the redheaded stepchild, the whatever it is. It's the exception, not the norm, because the PlayStation offering really hasn't increased in value in any way, but the price has gone up. So that's where I would look at PlayStation and go, hey, that's an example of this. But that's not what's happened with, Netflix, Disney. Well, I mean, you could argue Disney based on quality, but Disney, like as far as the, as far as the offering that you get in all these subscription services, the value has increased. You can't open a subscription service, with inherently more value than you end up with, because as you progress, get more subscribers, make more money, your budgets get bigger, your games become more plentiful, or your films become more plentiful, and the value increases. And so then the price has to go up. I would argue that Game Pass is infinitely more value now than it did when it kicked off in 2018. It was very much an indie sort of space, whereas now you can find a lot of almost, anything, big AAAs, EA plays in there. I don't think you would need to invoke PlayStation as hey, look what our direct competition is doing. I think you could really agree with you, Holly, is just invoke the market and go, hey, look, this is the market. This is what we've had to do. It would have happened anyway. Now that we have ABK, we're infinitely more valuable, and it just makes more sense as well. That's obviously going to be an addition. It's going to be in there. But the FTC, I agree, needs to back off on this. It seems like it was a bit of a gotcha.
Silly.
But see, I mentioned I invoked PlayStation specifically, and Donte hit it right on the head. It's because not only is it somebody in the market that they can point to directly that does the same type of thing they do with subscriptions, they're also in gaming. So they're very specific, somebody they can say, look at us, look at them. They also raise their prices. And theirs is, you're not going after them for that.
Right?
Yeah.
The reigning market leader has had to adjust their prices for their services, including subscriptions. What do you expect for us who's in third place?
Exactly.
Like, how are we gonna undercut them for forever?
Not to bring it around to this either, but in 6 to 8 months, this might be dropped anyway, because Lena Khan might be gone, because it'll be different leadership.
68 months. 68 months. That's a long time.
6
to 8.
Yeah.
Riskit.
Is your information correct there, Holly? 68 months? I don't know.
68 months. I got 68. Let me write this down. If it's not 68 months, we're gonna talk. Legendary slap. Look, shout out to Icon112. He says, hit that like button. Really appreciate you. Shout out to JMac as well in the chat. Shout out to Lotus Esprit. Thank you so much for gifting another 5 memberships. Really appreciate you. Shout out to everyone in the chat. You guys have been pretty amazing. I'll just address one person in the chat. It's not an arguable point. TRVVO talking about the inherent value that's available within PS Plus versus Game Pass. Put it this way: PS Plus. This is what I'll give you this and only this. PS Plus is probably more valuable to someone who is just getting into the gaming sphere now and has never played a PlayStation exclusive. For anyone that's actually a hardcore gamer, you've played all those games and you got them when they came out. And so there's no value for you to be had in PS Plus. The only value in PS Plus is that it allows you to play online in the PlayStation ecosystem. And then you do get some decent third-party games. Game Pass, however, brings you a ridiculous amount of value with third-party AAAs, indies that are fantastic, AA s, and you also get all the first-party stuff day and date. I mean, look, we just had 3 games dropped into Game Pass this week that were not under a 70 Metacritic or OpenCritic, and 2 of them in the 80s. So, look, you can argue the point, but it's pretty stupid. And Ubisoft Plus is not available within PS at all, and it's available in exactly the same way it's available in the Xbox ecosystem. You can get Ubisoft Plus on Xbox as well, bud. So, look, I'm really sorry to tell you, but you're wrong in most use cases.
I would say this too. I think some people. I don't think my man was even being legit. I think he was just trying to come and stir stuff. Oh, you got to Google more?
Yeah, I got to go. Yeah, it's work time. But hey, shout out to the chat again, to the panel. Great show. Kill off the rest of it, and I will catch you guys back next Friday.
I need you on 76,
all right, brother.
Sir.
All right. Well, I got to do some Flintlock too, though. But yeah, I'll bounce it out.
All right, brother.
Okay.
All right. Peace, everybody.
Later.
Late.
But I was going to say the argument, I think, is it Trevo? Yeah, I think he's just trying to be extra. And really, I think I saw this quote on Twitter. This dude posted. I thought it was so cold-blooded that people mix contrarianism with intelligence or intellect and try to use that as intellectualism, when it's just them being contrary to what you're talking about. Oh, if I dismiss what you're talking about, I sound more intelligent. And I think that's all we know you're trolling, brother. Somebody, Weapon X asked it, or I think a few people asked it. We read what Microsoft's response was. Riskit, you want me to read it, or you got it?
No, jump on it.
So Microsoft filed with Winkelson and Steckloff. I mean, with those types of names, you know they're going to win. Anybody named Winkelson, I feel like we'll win. No, but so they filed and they said, Dear Miss Dwyer, the FTC's Rule 28J letter presents a misleading extra record account of the facts and is a continuation of the agency's attempts to reinvent its case on appeal. That was a very nice way of saying they're taking things out of context and trying to revise history. It says earlier this month, Microsoft announced changes to its gaming subscription service Game Pass to provide consumers valuable options at different price points. Microsoft is offering a new service tier, Game Pass Standard, which offers access to hundreds of back catalog games and multiplayer functionality for $14.99 a month. It is wrong to call this a degraded version of the discontinued Game Pass for console offering. That discontinued product did not offer multiplayer functionality, which had to be purchased separately for an additional $9.99 a month, making the total cost $20.98 a month. While Game Pass Ultimate's price will increase from $16.99 to $19.99 a month, the service will offer more value through many new games available day and date. Among them is the upcoming release of Call of Duty. They're going to use Call of Duty like a bludgeon, as they should, which has never been available on a subscription day and date. The FTC barely mentioned subscription at trial, instead focusing on the theory that Microsoft would withhold Call of Duty from Sony's console. That's what I mentioned earlier, by the way. The district court correctly rejected that theory, which is now further eroded by Microsoft and Sony's 10-year agreement to keep Call of Duty on PlayStation, a contract Sony was thrilled to enter. While the FTC has now tried to shift focus to alleged subscription market, its letter does not map onto its arguments below. Setting aside that it is common for businesses to change service offerings over time, the FTC's case in all of its alleged markets has always been premised on vertical foreclosure, i.e. that Microsoft would withhold Call of Duty from rivals and therefore harm competition. But even in the alleged subscription market, Call of Duty is not being withheld from anyone who wants it, sealed and such, and there remains it ends there. That was from Tom Warren's tweet. So it just gets into more legalese at that point. Basically, they were like, they're revising history and trying to change things up in extreme layman's term.
Well, they're revising history and then trying to add a little bit more, trying to change the context of their initial filing, which was not anything really to do with Game Pass being damaging to the consumer. So they're like trying to add this in, which is fine to do legally. You can do that, but it sort of muddies the waters with your specific. Look, I don't think that's a good strategy. Again, because it muddies the waters. Like they did muddy the waters themselves quite a bit. In the end. Sorry, I'm just trying to move stuff around the background. It muddied the waters quite a bit with their filings. They were a little bit all over the place. They pulled a little bit from column A, column B. Then they switched to that whole cloud thing. That wasn't working out for them. They switched to the Call of Duty thing. That didn't work out for them. So I think that's, again, if you want to bring a solid case, you want to sit back. If I was them, I would have appealed, held, and then brought it within trial and added that as a filing. But it's still not going to go through the Ninth Circuit. For them to roll it back now, I think would be, Microsoft would then appeal it. By the time you get to the end of the appeals process, you're probably looking at a good minimum. This is just off the top of my head. Don't quote me on this. This thing could go on for anywhere from 2 to 4 years, maybe even 6. So, and by that point, this is just not gonna. This is not gonna go through. So there's nothing to worry about. Realistic with ABK. But hey, interesting. We're going to talk about it. It's good to see him have another try. Good on them. Good on them.
Just to respond to Grim Jr., he asked, isn't it a bad thing for them to use Call of Duty like a bludgeon? Because the FTC's point is that because of Activision, Microsoft is going to do something to harm consumers. Well, the point of them using it like a bludgeon, Grim, is that it's not going to harm consumers by them putting it to a subscription service. That was their argument. It's actually more accessible now, which is just obvious truth. It's also going to still be on other markets. It's not like they're taking it off anything else. So what argument do they really have to say is harming anything? They don't. It's helped is actually more beneficial to consumers now. So it's in more markets too because of the streaming. So there's no harm there.
Yeah, the elemental hero. So the point. So what Microsoft said was that they wouldn't be raising the price specifically because of the ABK deal. That's important. The wording is important. This is a thing that I've been saying in the background a lot this past couple of weeks is words have meaning. And the reason that lawyers and CEOs are very careful about how they say things is because words have meaning. And what they would need to now prove, the FTC would need to now prove, is that they wouldn't have raised the price had they not been able to purchase ABK. That's simply what they're going to need to be able to prove, and you can't prove that. So there's just no way you can. Bringing that filing is pointless. It's not something that. And
to be fair, too, I don't think that, you could see when you're going through an acquisition like that, right? You get access to some of the records, right? There's books and things that you get to see. There's things that you open because you have to know if it's a sound investment or not. But I don't think you get access to every single keys to the kingdom to view before you purchase, because if the purchase falls through, then somebody else knows all of your secrets, right? So to be fair, they can't sit in court and say from the moment that we close the deal, we're going to wait a minimum of X amount of time to raise a price, or we won't do this for this amount of time, because until they fold them in and they know all of the plans in the company, all of the books in the company, and then figure out what redundancies there are, figure out what they want to do with that. They know a lot, but it still takes time to kind of go through that and figure all of that out. And no smart company would ever commit to, if I get this, then I promise I will never do this until this minimum date. So they don't give dates. That's why they talk about immediately or in the short term, or, because it's relative. It's lawyer speak because they can't commit. So,
yeah, we have no plans to. That is not a discussion, like all that sort of stuff.
And it's
that
not a commitment to anything. Our plans change, right?
Holly thinks she's
that's just
smart.
how we're.
Oh,
that's just
she thinks she's so good.
That one's for Holly. But she's absolutely right. She's absolutely right. Grim Jr., he said, removing features, raising prices is damaging the consumer, and I'm just never going to defend a corporation doing that, especially when they apparently don't need to. Look, I agree with that, dude. And to Hargeet's point where he said, what did they remove? Well, they removed an entire tier. And yes, you grandfathered into that you grandfathered into that that tier 110%. Yes, that is true. However, that tier is not available to new people. That tier now doesn't have day one games. And if you, for some reason, your payment, for 13 months, you're guaranteed to have that tier. So
also too, like I read
Hard
earlier, they also added multiplayer to the new one that they didn't have in the previous one. So it's kind of like they took away, but they also gave.
Let me just say this. I love your hard geek, but that's a weak argument to say that that tier still exists. It does as it's grandfathered in, but they did take a tier away. They did take day one away from that tier, and they are pushing people towards Ultimate. I am not defending that. I think that's. I understand the business, and again, Fonz would probably want to slap the teeth out of my mouth, but that because he doesn't like thinking from a business perspective. But that's from a business perspective, I understand exactly why they did that, why they had to do that. From a consumer standpoint, I think it sucks, and I don't defend it as a consumer either. I think it's
the
it's a shitty move.
The duality of Riskit coming to a theater near you.
That's just what it is. Like, it's not.
No, you're right.
It's
Absolutely
not so,
correct.
It's not so egregious that it's like, oh my god, like it's
not that
terrible.
bad.
And
although to be fair, we are speaking from the I guess what's the word I want to use? The privilege of what we have. Like some are not in that situation, so I'm trying to be understanding to that too. Even though I do my PCMR talk, I do get it. That some might not have the luxury of that. I was actually reminded of that some time ago talking to somebody from Brazil. I won't go into details, but just stuff that seems like nothing to us sometimes is really costly for others. So I get it. It's very clear though that they're pushing people to Ultimate. It's not even an argument to be made against that. That's clearly what they're doing. And we all
have it.
You'll be foolish not to have Ultimate, in my opinion, if you're going to subscribe to it.
And we all have it, right? So like it was from a smart, like it's a smart move, right? From Xbox, because realistically, most of the hardcores who are on Twitter, if you're an Xbox guy, you've probably got Ultimate. So you look at this whole thing and you think that's shitty. And then your consumer brain, what about me brain goes, doesn't hurt me. And that's what my brain did. I'm like, it doesn't hurt me. I guess it sucks if you're in the console thing, but at least you got it for this long. I think they did it in a smart way. They took something away and they did it in the smartest, most consumer-friendly way you can take something away. I think they nailed it, dude. Like,
I think we all knew it was going to happen too. Like, that's another thing. Like, this was a foregone conclusion. We knew it was happening. We talked about it so many times. Like, they're going to raise the price. They're putting Call of Duty in there. We all knew it. It was just a matter of when they chose to do it.
AJH, that's if you never play on your console, then you can have PC Game Pass. But I'm hoping that Umbra still plays on the console. Otherwise,
what was that? What was that laugh for? And why is it a horse for the PC?
I don't know. I feel like PCMR guys really similar to
nobody's
hardcore
matching.
PlayStation.
Nobody's matching the Who brothers. I'm telling you that right now. But I do still play on the Xbox, by the way. I do still play some games on Xbox. It's just, again, it's for the lower tier games that don't need the extra push of performance. But like anything that's going to need performance or me to get 60 frames per second, PC it is.
You hear we just called all of you people.
I did not say. I'm not saying it that way. Don't listen to her.
The lower quality.
That's not what I was saying.
He is not a man of the people anymore.
Don't listen to Holly. She's trying to turn you all against me. Did you all see her fingernails, by the way? Show your fingernails to the audience, Holly. See, how can you trust someone who has blue nails? She's Team Pony, see? She's trying to turn you all against me.
The blue and the red. Yeah, look, inherently, so just back to the topic and then we can switch topics, but inherently the change is bad for consumers. It's not arguable. I wouldn't. Business-wise, it makes sense. It was always coming. We expected it. It is what it is. And the FTC using it as as consumer harm. Hagi, I'll agree with you there 100%. New consumers can't be harmed coming into the, they choose to come into the ecosystem as it is. before they had it. And so, yeah, like new consumers can't be. I could think of one use case where it is harmful for consumers. However, you can't. It'd be really hard to argue that in court. They're not going to win that, and I think it's just them trying to evidence a bit of a gotcha. And we'll see how that goes. J-Mac said, this is not talking about the love of gaming. Speaking about the love of gaming, if you love gaming, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. Share us how we go live 8 p.m. EST every Friday. If you're in Australia, that is 11 a.m. If you're in the West Coast, best coast of Australia, 8 a.m. And the love of gaming, we got to talk about this. Boom, boom,
No.
boom.
Do we have to talk about this?
I like it, but
Busted
I
a
cannot
code.
lie.
You
Holly
motherfuckers
cannot
can't
deny. Yeah. Then when a controller like this walks by your face, okay, I'm not.
You get
stop.
wrong.
You get, the controller got it going on.
This is crazy. Love it. Thought it was hilarious. There's a lot of jokes going around the internet on this one. I just thought I would shout it out. If you didn't see this because you're not on Twitter, this is. Oh, Grey Monad said, it keeps telling me it's 10 a.m., not 11 a.m. if you're in the east coast of Australia. No one cares about the east coast, man. Okay, yeah, no, it's 10 a.m., my bad. Damn, daylight changing. We abolished it. We don't need to save daylight. We got plenty. We live in Australia. Yeah, love this. Thought it was awesome from Xbox. Great to see that they can have a little bit of fun with their marketing. There was some marketing conversation, actually, earlier in the week. But we'll flip back over to the next topic. There's not a whole lot to say on this one, realistically, except for that is just cool as shit. And I didn't go in for it, but I hope I win.
I put in for it.
I bet you did.
The way I'm going to rub my fingers through and caress that controller is going to be something special, Holly. Oh, Holly, you don't know. I see her rolling her eyes. I don't know why, but man. Oh yeah, Holly. When I grab that controller, why did she go off screen? Holly, come back.
Okay.
You can blame it all on me.
Because it was
He
my
really
fault.
wants, the little battery, the battery back where you have to put your finger in to pop the thing off.
Yes.
Oh my God.
Batteries.
I'm gonna put my finger all up in
He
there to
really
pop it.
wants that to be right in the middle.
Oh yeah, I'm gonna put my finger all in there to pop it, Holly. Yep. Right up in there, just to get the batteries in there nice and good,
There was a lot of people that were like, okay, seriously, Xbox, we need to buy this one. This one got huge hype. It got a lot of,
oh, look, I think they should sell some of these for sure. Like, I would probably buy that one because it's fucking hilarious. Like, everyone
at
wants
least the controllers in a minimum,
right? Controller with back. Even that Xbox, I'd probably pay, I don't know, Australian $1,200 for that console with the
that
swords on the back and the whole bit.
one, the SpongeBob was $700 or $800.
That was horrible too. It didn't look that good to me. Now this one actually looks pretty good. I'll probably give an extra 100 to it to get it.
I was just reading the chat. Everyone's going off. We started something. Look, we'll jump on to the next topic, which is Halo Season 3 cancelled. Oh, guys, by the way, we've got a Q&A live. So if you want to press on that white button, drop any questions in there you want us to answer at the end of the show, let us know. I'll end it at the end of the show. And if there's any questions in there, we will ask the panel. And someone, Mr. X, put F in there, so that's interesting. We'll probably skip over that one. But yeah, hit that Q&A, and we'll answer the questions at the end of the day. I don't know what F means. Maybe in Australia it means something different. But yeah, Halo Season 3 has been cancelled after 2 seasons. But the producers are looking for a new home. I don't think this is a big surprise. I think it really picked up after Season 2. It was Paramount Plus's biggest show, the most watched show. Maybe that dropped off dramatically in Season 2. I'm assuming, because we didn't hear much about how big it was in Season 2. I would argue, and I think a lot of people would argue, that Season 2 was much, much better than Season 1. And maybe if they had begun I think season 1 was season 2, and they just scrapped season 1 altogether. They might have been off to a fantastic start. That whole season was great. Pretty unfortunate. I think personally they should scrap the whole thing and start again from the start. Who was saying it? Jez was like, "Oh, I don't think they'll do that." Like, I'm not saying that. I think that they'll do that like immediately. Let's scrap it and immediately go to the next, the next thing. No, but I think another 5 years or so, you can sit and wait and build a Halo series that is true to the story. Build a Halo series that is true to the
canon,
the lore.
Did you see the post
canon.
today that said that one of the Nolan brothers wants to do the first 3 games as a trilogy?
What? I did not.
That would be awesome. That would be
That
awesome.
would be worthwhile.
Yeah. Yes, it would.
Do that.
Which Nolan are we talking about? I mean, you can't go wrong.
Christopher, or his brother is a
No,
director as well.
What was his brother's name? He's the one that did the Fallout series, producer.
Yeah,
what's his
Jonathan.
name?
Jonathan, right?
That's it. Yeah.
Mhm.
Hey, listen. After Fallout, Jonathan Nolan is good with
I think
me.
it was
Also,
movies. I think they wanted to do movies.
I'd be for it. I mean, he's been hit or miss at some times, but I look at his work with Fallout and also Westworld, Jonathan Nolan, and he's turned in good work there. Although Westworld is kind of hit and miss, that's why I say it's kind of
his worst would still be 1,000 times better than anything that you've gotten so far.
Yeah,
yeah,
you might be right about that.
110%.
You got people that agree with you, Riz, that they should just scrap it. Like Paul Tassi says that they should just get rid of it, and he mentioned other series that obviously outshined it so heavily, such as
literally The Acolyte.
Well, Acolyte was terrible from what I'm hearing. I haven't watched it.
Oh,
I haven't watched it either, but I guarantee it was better than Halo Season 1.
You bet. Oh well, yeah, maybe
on par.
On par with it. The power of many.
Anytime you got people, the power of oh my gosh,
the power of one, the power of two.
We're not gonna do that.
The power of many.
Yeah, look, it was what's up, Pop Bucko? It was Acolyte was rough, but season 1. Actually, season 1's probably a little bit better than Acolyte, to be honest. And that may be because I'm a Halo fan. But
I think I believe that it would be just from what I've seen.
There's no Halo in season 1. And that's fine. Even if you watch it like it's just a TV show and you take your disappointment away from it not really being Halo, you could do that. Like I was like, after the first, I was like, okay, all right. Like the first couple, I was like, all right, it's just a TV show. Let me just watch it like a TV show.
Yeah.
Worst. I hate watch that season 1. Like I hate watched it. And then I went and I rage watched Angry Joe episodes, rage watching Halo.
Yeah, he rage watched it.
And then another guy rage watched. Like it became like a thing where you watch the first the episode.
Yeah.
It's so bad. And then you watch 4 hours of other people being mad about how bad the episode is and breaking down
you didn't like it when you
bad.
do that. You know you really didn't like it if you hate watch it and then rage
that is
watch
exactly what I did with the season 1 of Halo.
Right.
That was 100% what I did.
Bad.
Do you think I turned on season 2? Not 1 second of it. Nope.
But season 2 was way better, I would say.
Doesn't matter. That's what people say. I
honestly,
don't care.
No.
I don't care.
Season two was much like multitudes better. It's like, all right,
no, they had their chance. They had their chance.
No, honestly, you gotta watch.
Holly's not
season 2.
Forgiving, as you all have not noticed.
Pretend 1 like didn't exist and start with season 2. I'm telling you, like it's multitudes better. Yeah. And I'll give you a good idea of what Acolyte's like. I was like, my daughter who was 15 was like, I want to watch Acolyte, and I'm like, because she doesn't mind her Star Wars, which I really appreciate. And she that is my impression of her too. And she's like, I'm like, literally, I'm telling you, it's three episodes in, it's terrible. And she's like, okay, I'll watch it. So she's watching it. 3 episodes later, she's like, Dad, this is really good. And I'm like,
why does your daughter sound like a Valley girl?
because
this is really
that's how
guy. Like,
that's how they sound.
I haven't watched
That's how they sound.
Acolyte.
Oh my God.
I've just gone and I've watched Angry Joe and Jeremy Johns review the show, like this every episode of the Acolyte, and never
Yeah.
watched the show because
Yeah.
that is more entertaining than
I-
anything that show could give me.
I watched a few
It's
clips.
terrific.
I forgot this lady who did a review, and she highlighted stuff, and I went to other people's reviews, and they were all consistent in parts that they show which were terrible. So I'm like, okay, that does it for me as far as Acolyte. On Angry Joe, by the way, and Bobby didn't know where we appreciate Angry Joe. Sure, some things I don't like about him, but I like that one. What got me on him was the one he did for the Blue. He did the Last of Us 2 review. I thought that was well done, but also hilarious. If you all have never watched his
Yes.
Last of Us 2
So
How
good.
review,
about
it
did you
was
see
really
his
funny.
Last of Us remake of the remake?
Yeah.
Oh, I
That
didn't
was
see
so
that
good.
one. I didn't see that
So
one.
good. No, he literally just said he literally just posted the same review. He's
Oh.
like, he just said the Last of Us remake review.
They're
the
like
recap.
10 years
Same-
younger, 30 pounds lighter. Their hair is like more dark and filled in, because it was 10 years ago. It's hilarious.
It's so good. So good. And he put little bits in there just as a laugh. It's good. I can't describe it. Like it's
Stephen
great.
Avery is back. Riskit.
Nope.
Oh, no.
Shout out to Stephen Avery.
Wow.
I'm going to time you out, Broham. Like,
That is solid.
because
Solid
I
gold.
have 911 operator access, your account is suspended.
Can you say like
911,
operate
what's your emergency?
Yeah.
I
Can you do it?
can-
Do it again. Do it again.
911, what's your emergency?
Yes, ma'am. I need to report a crime here. I'm here at 5:15. Can you help me? Now you had to sound obnoxious and self-conceited.
Please hold.
That did it. That did it. I'm like, no, I'm about to die. I'm about to die.
I said hold, sir. Oh my god, that is solid gold. That's show over. That's it. That's gold. That's solid gold. Look, look, they just shut it down, build a new Halo, start from scratch, do it again, like 110%. I'm gonna move on to the next topic before we do hit the look, there's one more thing I just want to shout out. This looks crazy. So there was a Space Marine 2 leak. So if just a public service announcement, if you are excited for that game, stay off off YouTube. Stay off anything that says Space Marine 2. Just stay the fuck off it unless it's an official channel. Otherwise, you will see I accidentally pressed on something and saw some of the gameplay. I was like, because I'm super hyped for that game. Another game that got launched this week, which nobody wants to die. It's a very Blade Runner-esque 1930s. Holly, did you play a bit or not? So I was going to speed through this one.
No, but this is the game that I was most excited about. I've been watching it for months, just casually, and then that trailer dropped this week, the real beefy one, and you're like, holy shunk. So it was gifted to me, and I am going to play it. It's about 5 hours. It's scoring really well from the few people who have played it. First game from this studio. It's kind of like a Telltale. It's a narrative experience. It's like playing Blade Runner meets cyberpunk-ish style. I'm so excited to play this thing.
Do you want to so it's probably sitting as at an aggregate of 80, but there's only 4 reviews of this. So IGN's Spain 80, Push Square 80, Xbox Zero 9.5, Serial Killers 8.1. And yeah, it does have that sort of noir detective story game. I'm not sure how, but I did type this in to get a trailer, which, what the hell, I'll pop it up on screen. I typed this in to get a trailer, and Google got really concerned about me and started giving me, it gave me helplines
Suicide
to call.
prevention stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. because I typed in no one wants to.
Yeah, it's only like $23 too. So it's not, it's not too big of a pricey game. It's on sale right now on Steam and Xbox.
Yeah, I'll pop it up on screen because it looks super cool, man. Again, like I said, I'm a little bit strapped just this week. You get to the back end because I'm a monthly paid, so I'm at the back end of my my pay cycle, and I've made some pretty big purchases this, so I'm a bit strapped. So I would though be grabbing this 110% because it looks really cool. It's got that 1930s feel with that cyberpunk feel. It's just. Yeah, it looks like a really, really good game, and all of the feedback that's come in so far from people who are playing it, plus all the reviews, this looks like one to play definitely, and especially now when there was a little bit of a lull. This dropped just before Flintlock, Kunitsu-Gami, and Dungeons of Hinterberg, so this looked like a really good one to sort of play.
It's kind of Bioshock-esque too,
right? Yeah, it's got some weird. Some cool little gadgets in it and stuff that obviously you would use. And the premise is that like no one dies anymore. So everyone lives forever and you like time is currency.
It's
so
essentially Altered Carbon. Have you all watched Altered Carbon season 1?
Yeah.
This is essentially that. And I posted this, by the way, before you did, Holly, in the links and such. You all ignored me, of course, but
I could see you guys. Chatting in the topics chat too. That's cool.
Genius is always ignored. I just wanted to point that out, but I did post this in there. I think a day before you posted it. This actually looks really good, so it's good to see Holly has some taste. There's great minds. Copy me. Anyway,
you say copy?
No,
you say copy me.
Copy me. Yeah. I'm being extra. No, that game.
Even
Avery
really
wasn't
good. Enough tonight, huh?
Right. Hold, please. You did that really well.
So good. So good.
You did that too well, actually. No, this game looks really good. It reminds me of Altered Carbon. If you all have never watched Altered Carbon, check that out, or look up a trailer for it or something, and you'll see what I mean. It actually has very much the same premise too, that people can be essentially immortal in there, where they take your consciousness and all of that and put it into a new body and all these types of things. It's very similar in that aspect. It looks like aesthetically even similar. So yeah. So I'm definitely interested in thinking about getting it myself. So yeah.
Yeah, I'm definitely going to jump on it. I'm hoping to. I might. It's the problem with xCloud is that you can't play things that aren't on Game Pass. So I would like to play my purchase games. So I might hold off until I get a handheld because that would be something that I could play quite easily on handheld. The other thing that happened this week was this, and I am going to play this with sound. So yeah, check this out, guys. Really, really cool. This is the trailer for the update, the Part 1 update trailer. Check this out.
No Man's Sky, version 5.0. A complete refresh of the universe.
It looks amazing.
With new technology, new flora and fauna, and new gameplay. Planet variety is far beyond what was possible before. Oceans have waves, reflections, and more variety. Planets have wind patterns. Waves are dynamic and react to weather. On the surface of the planet, there are new volumetrics and atmospherics. New cloud tech allows detailed clouds and weather conditions. In storms, waves, winds, and clouds interact for incredible immersion. New creatures are out there to discover. With a combat-focused expedition. Our journey continues.
That's absolutely crazy, man. Because compared to what it launched like to what where it's at today. Yeah, someone in the chat. Yeah.
You
Yeah.
have railed and pumped your fists about Cyberpunk and CD Projekt Red and all of the problems that came along with that and how you won't play it. But yet this one you're giving all of the praise in the world and it's the exact same story.
No. It's definitely not. It is a redemption arc, 110%. The way that this is very, very different is this is 16 developers. Yeah, he promised the world, like 110%. But they have literally stuck with this game from day one and provided free updates all the way. This update is free from start to finish, and this game is also in Game Pass.
All of Cyberpunk's updates are free. The Phantom Liberty is just DLC. That's different. It's DLC.
Right? But this is DLC.
But it's not. It's just features for the planet.
Well, that's not true. No. What they've added is they've done a complete refresh of the universe. They've got new technology, new flora, new fauna, and new gameplay. They've got a big hunt expedition. They've got new creatures. They've got a combat mech they've added to the game. They've got water landings, so you can now land on water. You've got solar ships, completely new solar ships. You've got a new boss in the game, the Bug Queen, and a bunch of new biomes. Sounds like that's a fair bit. I would give that DLC, right?
That's not
seems
DLC.
like
it's extra content, but it's not DLC.
I mean, do you have to download it? I mean, if you got to download it, right? It's technically DLC, right? I mean, look, I see where you're coming from, but
patches.
Well, it's downloadable content, right? But I see where you're coming from, but Cyberpunk was completely egregious in the way that they did it. I feel like these guys overpromised and underdelivered because of capacity, as opposed to a big corporate beast where the CEOs were like, "Fuck you, gamers. We're just going to release this broken. You'll buy it. We'll make money off that." And then we'll invest in the game. Like, I feel there was just a lot. It was a dirtier, as when they did the reviews, when they handed out the review codes,
I think they're giving them too much credit because the stuff that they're adding through all of these updates, and they've done a lot of updates, they have, but all of these updates they've been adding are just getting it to the game that they promised. It's not like. It's not new, right? It's stuff that was supposed to be there.
New.
So I'm not saying the game isn't
order.
worthy of a lot of recognition, that they are doing all that they promised, 100%. But
listen, I'll say this: I have never played No Man's Sky, and I saw this update the other day, and I was like, "Wow, blown away." First off, visually, it's gorgeous. It's just gorgeous, and it looks like a lot of you just doing anything in there. So I don't like aimless games. I will say that. Yeah. But I did ask like Vinny, my buddy Vinny, my brother Vinny, if he could jump in with me because they have co-op and stuff like that. And I could see us just jumping in, having fun, and he can show me the ropes. I actually have it in my cart right now on Steam. So I had it in there for a few days. What is what hold, please.
He literally just said that it's in Game Pass. So you could just play it on Game Pass.
Is it in Game Pass? Oh, I didn't hear that part.
It is, yeah. 110%. Okay. And MASH completely agree. They didn't just I disagree with you, Mash, but that's cool. He said they didn't just overpromise, they did straight up live for release. Now it's good. Yeah, I don't think they straight up lied. I think they overpromised with No Man's Sky. I think with Cyberpunk they straight up lied. They literally said that the console editions were good, like there was no problems, and they were clearly not good.
You could stand on this hill and that's fine. I think just the resolution to it is that you just need to play Cyberpunk.
You definitely need to play Cyberpunk.
That's it.
It's a really good game.
I will not purchase Cyberpunk. No.
I'm going to give.
I do not encourage.
I'll solve it.
That kind of behavior. Gift it to me physically so I can burn it live on stream. Thank you.
You should try it though, man. I mean, it's CD Projekt Red. They turn in great stuff.
Yeah. They did make great stuff, and now they're just a trash bag studio. No, I do. No, they're not. I'm
Riskit's
kidding.
thoughts and views are not those. of
I
the
was just gonna
Infinite
say
Podcast.
that. I was just gonna say that. Like, wait, hold on. Like, oh.
Yeah, I guess Grim Jr. put it best. The only difference is the intent or motive, but the physical game and its change is the same. As yeah, so I don't like corporate greed. That's fine, but it's really the only difference. But it is the intent that matters. Like the intent is the most important thing. Is if your intent is to give the gamer a crazy awesome game, and like that's your intent, which I think it was his with No Man's Sky, and you didn't succeed in that. That's one thing. If your intent is like just to basically break up as much cash as you can with your broken game, like Cyberpunk, shout out to Mash with the 10 gifted memberships. Really appreciate you, bro. Anyway, even though we disagree,
10 months ago, Microsoft didn't intend to raise the price of Game Pass, but now they are. Like, it's the same argument. It's not,
it's the intent.
Like, but you're okay with that. But you're
they
okay
didn't
with
intend
that.
to.
You're just hating
I am okay.
on Cyberpunk.
Yeah, Cyberpunk's trash.
You
trash
have
bag
singled
game,
them
trash.
out for no reason, sir.
No reason. They're scum of the gaming industry.
Dang.
No, their developers are amazing, and I met a couple of them, and they're absolutely amazing. And I definitely told them exactly everything I said here today to their face. I didn't do that. That's a lie.
I was going to say, I don't believe that.
No, because you wouldn't say that harsh. But I didn't play the game at FanFest on principle. So I'm a principled guy. What can I say? Look, I think that's pretty much it. We're going to wrap. But before we do wrap, we have the Q&A to get through. I don't know how many questions we got from the community, but if you guys want to drop some questions in the Q&A white button at the top of the chat there, we're gonna go through these questions and check them out and read them. I don't know why I'm German. It's because I am stalling. We now have ways of making you talk.
Fuck Mr. Bond.
All right. Cool. We got a cup. I'm gonna have to look those two up. We got a couple of questions. So we got Mr. X who says F. Thank you.
I think he's trying to say
that's a question.
F-U, maybe. Maybe he's going to forget.
Maybe, possibly.
Maybe he's just saying false.
False. Could be saying false. What case, if any, can the FTC come up with? Wasn't Lena Khan getting embarrassed enough for her to reconsider? Then again, she said they wanted to bring this, whoever they are. What case? Well, I'm going to go with the question in there. Is what case, if any, can they bring? Shit, there's not a. So yeah, you could bring a case and the evidence building that they're doing, but you can see the responses at Microsoft. They can't bring a case that they're going to win. There's no winnable case there. Sometimes it's just not. What case can they bring? Okay, so what they could do is they could combine the price rises, the lack of tiers, which they've done. They could look at cloud overall. And put usership of Microsoft up against the usership of every other cloud operator in the industry. And then the other thing that they could bring forward is the amount of layoffs that Microsoft's had. The reason that they won't win that is because the counter to all of that is everyone in the industry's had a lot of layoffs. And that's just the price of doing business at the moment. Cloud, yes, the amount of usership, that could be an argument. I don't think you could argue a monopoly, because combined, all the other cloud operators probably have enough to stop that argument of monopoly. But you could say that they have a stranglehold over the market, that they could push towards a monopoly. However, Microsoft is engaging other cloud providers. So Ubisoft with the deal with their cloud operations, as well as adding GeForce Now to their launcher. They're providing options for people that are outside of Microsoft. So that would be a tough one to argue. You'd lose that too. And then what was the other one? The Game Pass tier. Look, again, you're not causing, as Hargeet said, as it pertains to a court case, you're not causing harm to new consumers. They can make that choice to go Ultimate Standard or whatever they want. They've still allowed people who are on the console, which I would argue is the worst tier, because as you pointed out before, Umbra, they've added multiplayer to Standard, and you don't get Standard on console, so you can't play multiplayer games unless you go and get Core if you have Core and Game Pass together, then you may as well have Ultimate. It was as ridiculous tier as it was anyway. But however, that tier is still available for at least the next 13 months. And probably a little bit longer than that, I would say 18 months to 2 years. So that's probably not something you can argue either. So they don't have a winning case. Flat out, simple as that. It'd be really difficult to win that case. Elemental, if they do a remake of the Halo series, who would pick it up? Who would you want to pick it up? Shit, I like the Nolan idea. What do you guys think? Holly, who do you want to pick up the Halo series?
Does he mean like what network or something, or the person to make it?
Let's go with network.
Well, I don't want them to pick up the series unless it is a full brand new start, new cast, new everything. And if that's the case, then I think that actually that's the problem. It was supposed to be on Showtime to begin with, and Showtime I think would have done a pretty banger job with it. But then it got kicked to Paramount Plus, and Paramount Plus owns Showtime. So now I'm a little more skeptical of that. I just think they just had a different team doing that. Other than that, if you take it out of Paramount Plus, honestly, Amazon's doing a heck of a job right now, and they have a relationship with Microsoft. So maybe they could bring it in the fold and keep it a little more on point.
Yeah, I mean, I think Disney. Give it to Disney. They just done such a bang up job with.
Don't give anything to Disney right now.
No, I agree. Netflix.
If you want a worse version than what you already got.
When I think of quality, I often go to HBO. Though,
yeah,
I don't.
Agreed.
I like HBO is hard to argue against, right? I still look at it. If you look, I don't know if you guys watch Game of Thrones and such, like for instance, House of Dragons now.
But that's before they merged with the like 3 mergers they've been through in like the last 5 years, and
sure,
definitely not the same organization.
But they still put out great quality content. Like again, House of Dragon, and I look at the special effects they do for those dragons. By the way, that is top tier movie, AAA movie production that they're putting into those dragons. Like it looks really good, and so I know that they could put in a good amount if it's a valuable enough IP for that. But I think what makes the most sense will probably be Amazon. Amazon is also top tier, and they put a lot of money into their productions. Lord of the Rings as itself, like it might not have been the greatest of shows, but they put. I don't think it's bad either, by the way. But I don't. It's kind of but it's crazy how much money they put into it. I forgot what it was. I can't remember off the top of my head, but they put each episode cost a lot, so that you could see the quality was there. Movie quality spending was put into that. Also, you can look at the other shows, The Boys, things like that. They put a lot into
Wheel
that.
of Time.
Yeah, well, Wheel of Time. I haven't watched it, but I know that production wise, like a lot of the stuff Amazon does, and they have the money and capital for it too. Clearly, I think. And even, of course, Fallout. It's clear that they put the right people in place to do what they need to do. So Amazon makes a lot of sense. And shout out to Assassin, by the way. He actually did mention Amazon on Twitter too. So I think Amazon overall makes the most sense if I had to pick anybody else.
Oh, you know who actually is, to me, sorry to butt in because I kind of forgot there for a second, as the best streaming network that like every show they make is spot on killer is Apple TV. In all honesty,
I don't have Apple TV
every
either.
show that they make is so good. And
what's a really good show on there?
In any application except for Apple TV. It is banger.
What show would you recommend?
All of them. They're all fantastic. Every show they make
is good.
Is just freaking awesome. It's so good. Yeah,
gotta check them out. Share your account with me, Holly, right now, so I can. Okay. Hold, please.
I don't know what would be on the timeline if I could give you my account login.
I would not abuse it. Probably. You make the right choice.
Please hold.
Yeah.
I mean, I agree with that. I love that. Yeah.
What's with the hearts, Riskit? What was that about?
I don't know.
See some
How it
hearts
happened.
go by up there?
But yeah, I would agree with that. I would still say HBO Max would probably be the best. I just love that Band of Brothers they did. And I know they're not exactly the same company because they merged 3 times, but I don't think they haven't missed yet. So, and Apple TV, Umbra 110%. Get that, check it out. And Holly, yeah, they do. They make some Greyhound, the one with the submarines. Yep. Solo. Yep. That was who Tom Hanks
For
was
All
in that.
Mankind.
Yeah. I haven't seen it.
Yep.
But I'm going to pretend that I did. Yeah, that's amazing.
It's so good. So good.
What's that show on Apple? It's called
Severance.
Severance. That's the one I keep hearing about. Is that really, really good?
It's very strange. It's good.
Okay.
It's just very.
It's different.
There's nothing like it.
Mhm.
It's hard to describe.
All right.
Moving on to the next question, we got Mash says, why do you think so many new to this gen gamers are still picking the Series S over the Series X? A prime example being for the college football. Is it purely a lowest price of entry thing? I don't know, man. I think that would have something to do. That would have some to do with it personally. I think also ease of, for me, the reason I got a Series S was just so I could move around a lot easier. That thing's easy to just shove in a backpack and move on. If you got a TV where you're going, yeah, I mean, it's ease of use. And I love the Series S, and yeah, I think is a great option, frankly. It's just a pity that the what was the name of those guys that shut down Microsoft? They got blamed for it.
Shut down Microsoft?
Yeah, the recent outage. CloudStrike. Yeah, it's just a pity that CloudStrike was using all Series S server blades. So that just came out of the news recently. So that's why it shut. No, I'm kidding. Why is it, man? Just lots of different reasons. It's just a great entry, but I would say price would have a big thing to do with it. The size of it, and the experience on it. Realistically, depending on what TV you're playing on, it really isn't that degraded. I really haven't played my Series S on a big screen 4K for a while. So the biggest I've played it on is 47-inch. And you really don't see the difference that hugely on that screen. Plus, I was a little bit further back from the screen than I should be. So for me, yeah, I didn't see the great experience. What do you guys think? Umbra, why do you think the Series S is still the biggest seller?
Sure. That looks like, can you feel it? Can you feel it? Can you feel it?
You can't distract him because it takes 5
Right.
minutes to get back.
Or it also looks like, I want to rock with you.
Okay.
all
Back to topic.
night.
Back to topic.
Sorry.
Please hold, Holly. Please hold
Please hold.
while we rock.
She needed more nasal. I'm going to critique just a little bit. You just need please
Please
hold.
hold. Please hold.
Hold, please. 1 minute.
I'm watching you. Always watch.
Hey, we've been going 2.5 hours. Get back
Yes,
to your
ma'am.
answer.
Yes, ma'am. What was the question again? I forgot.
Holy
Series
shit.
S. Why is it so popular?
Yeah, point of entry, man. It's just cheap. It's cheap to get. It's cheap to get to what you need. And we've been talking about this for a while, as far as like a lot of gamers are typically playing these third-party games. You see how they sell. The Call of Duties, the Call of Duty's no longer third-party, but you get the idea. These games that they're annually on sale, those are the ones that go and sell the most. So why not get a console that can do what they need to do and get all of that, especially if you're going to account for Game Pass, if they maybe want to get Call of Duty as well now. I think we're going to see an uptick in all of that once Call of Duty drops. Actually, I think we're probably going to see even bigger uptick in sales for the Series S by that point, honestly. So I think it's just a matter of I think this is also could be a case of kind of lightning in a bottle. Like, who would have thought, like, oh, college football is going to start selling Series S's right now? I don't think anybody really saw that happening. So I guess it's just a matter of accessibility and affordability coming together nicely. That's the way I look at it.
Yeah, agreed. Holly, quick thoughts. We got one more question, And in that Q&A, we got one more question coming through, and then we shall. What are your thoughts?
So Snoop Dogg was playing it, and it on in a Series S, and if you saw, it was like almost in like a suit. It was like in a suitcase or in like a carrying like briefcase. So I
Yeah,
think
yep.
and it had like a little TV that wasn't. It's not the X screen, and I do think that is one reason that people do get it is because it's an easy portable thing with the X screen. You don't even need a TV, right? You just need some power. But he had it in like that super cool carrying case, and that is just kind of goes to my argument that it's easy to travel with, it's easy to pack up and throw in a bag, and it's a low price, it's a low barrier of entry, especially for people who have a PC or probably more
Can I just
realistically
pause you for 2 seconds? 2 seconds. Pelipeptides, can you just drop your question in the chat straight up, because I ended the Q&A so no more questions could be asked, and it wiped your question. So if you can just add your question in again, and I'll read it out. Sorry, Holly. Continue.
Nope. I don't remember what I was saying. Oh yeah. So it's probably, it's low barrier of entry, and people are seeing all of these games that Microsoft is promoting, and it looks like everything's coming up roses for them. So if you have a Nintendo, if you have a PlayStation, you're probably picking up one of these Series S for $225, $250 at most. They're everywhere for a pretty low price, especially now that they have the 1 terabyte S in black. So the smaller one is probably marked down even lower, or it's easier to find marked down lower. Just and then like even me, like I have an X, but I have an S for my bedroom, and then I have a spare bedroom where it's a stupid TV, and I don't want to buy a new TV. It was cheaper to just go buy a Series S and put it in there and have that as like, if you want to watch TV in this bedroom, here you go. Here's a Series S, and it's the access point in that room for television. So
She has a whole 4080 Super like me, and she's just don't you roll your eyes at me, operator. It's crazy. You got all these
Please.
Series S. You got all these Series S's and X's, and it's like you got a whole. Okay,
I gotta jump to the next question. Pelipeptides. I got a rough idea of what you said. So basically, the question was if PS5s lose money on each sale, they've sold 50 million consoles, and they don't have a roadmap or haven't had any first party games in the foreseeable future, in the recent future, is that bad? Obviously, yes, but I don't think they lose a whole lot on those consoles, to be honest. And they make a hell of a lot of money on third party and microtransactions. So yeah, I take your point, and I agree. But we know that first party doesn't move the needle as far as revenue to the company. It's really what moves the needle is the amount of third parties that they sell in their ecosystem, and the amount of microtransactions, and really bringing people to that ecosystem with those big free-to-play games that have a lot of microtransactions. Anyone else want to add to that?
No.
No.
Thank you. I think you summed it up.
Hold, please.
Hold, please.
And Holly wants to get out of here. You can tell she's hold, please.
Mm-hmm. She's like, wrap it up.
Didn't even notice that one. And Umbra, another fantastic week. Another fantastic conversation. Yeah, I really enjoyed this one. Thanks for coming through, and let people know where they can find you, what you'd be up to, and anything you want to add.
Yes, y'all. You don't stop. I don't know why I answered like that. Anyway, yeah, it was a good show. I enjoyed it very much so. Thank you all in the chat for being here with us today and tonight. Yeah, as far as where you can find me, of course, Twitter X, Infinite Umbra, or Umbra Infinite. You'll find me either way. On Boom's Xbox Factor on Tuesdays at 12 o'clock Eastern. What's so funny? Thursdays at 8 o'clock Eastern. The Fix with myself and Daniel J. McGee. It's rainy over there. And of course, Friday back here with us at 8 o'clock Eastern. So thank you all for being here with us. By the way, come by for The Fix. If you guys have not subscribed, check my name out on YouTube and subscribe to it, brother, if you would appreciate it.
Absolutely. Links are down in the description, so you can get to Umbra's channel. Down in the description, head down there. Check it out, and you can have a party. Blue, let people know where they can find you, what you'd be up to, how's your week looking, how's things?
Yeah, so I am on Tuesdays on the Renegade Realm podcast on Red Wolf's channel. But I do have a big event to promote a week from Sunday, July 28th, a week from Sunday. We are doing a huge charity stream for, gosh, I gotta look it up. It was either Gamers Outreach or a different organization that helps with accessibility issues for children. And we are doing it with the Iron Lords. So it'll be a 4 or 5 hour charity stream on their channel. And we're having a bunch of guests just pop in the whole time. We're going to have Seamus Blackley. We're going to have Larry Herb. We're going to have Jeff Rubenstein. We're going to have Colt. We're going to have Paris. We're going to have Danny Pena. We're going to have a whole bunch of people who are just going to pop in, talk for however long and give stories and talk about gaming and experiences with each other and give away a lot of prizes in the name of charity. So
Nice.
Please come by, and we're going to give away a one-of-a-kind full coin set that is in a one-of-a-kind wood display made by Geek Made Designs, one and only.
She said wood. Sorry.
Yes. Let's get serious on this. So then but they're gonna have like a Series X to give away. I think they're gonna have a Pit-Boy to give away. But it's through Ben Kenobi and fan art that all of this is happening. So yep, check it out. I think the adverts are gonna go up pretty soon all over Twitter. But just if you could remember, a week from Sunday, July 28th, big charity stream. And this Sunday, Season Gaming and Bitcast is having their 300th episode, so you should pop on by there too, because I think they're going to have a lot of special guests.
Thank you for reminding me. I am going to be popping through that one. I'm really, really looking forward to it. I'll be dog-tired because when he goes live, that's my normal bedtime. I'd normally be catching some Z's. Bobby Hawk, no. There will be no PlayStation coin, nor should there be ever. Shout out to Bobby. He's our resident pony. We tolerate him. Hoag's always there over on Season Gaming. That is another podcast that I highly recommend. Ains is an absolute legend. Thai Guy Travis unfollowed me, but I didn't take it personally. And I disagree with a lot of the stuff that Thai Guy says, but hey, media bias. And shout out to Hoag as well. It's a great show. Great show with a whole bunch of great people, so you should go check that out. Speaking of great shows with great people, The Infinite, hit the subscribe button, like button, share us out. We go live 8 p.m. EST every Friday, 10 a.m. in the east of Australia, 8 a.m. in the west of Australia. Thanks for joining us. You guys in the chat have been absolutely amazing. I appreciate every single one of you guys that support us each and every week. You're absolute champion. Anyone who's new, guys, hit the subscribe. We have a good time. The chat is usually rocking. Bobby Hawk said that's because he's a good pony. And we will see you all next week. Head down the description. Links, follows, stuffs, and things.
Oh, yeah.